Conway Hall, please welcome to the stage, Kill James Bond!
Malfunction-prone point we had risking there. Hello and welcome to another live episode of Kill James Bond. I am November Kelly.
Yeah, get your fill. The last one for a minute or two.
It's fine. Joined, as always, by my friends Abigail Thorne.
Hello.
And Devon. Thank you so much for coming out, and thank you for watching on the live stream if you are.
Hey.
There are no more tickets available. There is no night 4. You have fucked it if you haven't made it to this one, frankly.
If you're on the way right now, forget it. Turn around. It's over.
Steve
Rowan, it's not
Coogan's
worth
sadly
the
doing a
speeding
J-turn.
Sadly doing a J-turn.
The morose J-turn. All right, well, I'm going to be thinking about that the whole rest of the evening. So, this is going to be the weirdest one because we've had 2 nights to bed in a lot of jokes that are only funny to us.
Yeah.
I apologize in advance. So, dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to recapitulate the 2011 film Johnny English Strikes Again.
To say farewell, to lay to rest, a
Yes.
British icon.
Yeah.
Except not really, because there's going to be a 4th one.
Jonathan Englishman.
Oh, I'm sorry, were you not aware?
Yeah, they are making
Yeah.
a 4th right now
They're filming it, like, currently in Malta.
with an air of, like, active menace. Like, the threat is never... It's like the terrorist threat level, right? Like, it might be the risk of another Johnny English movie. It's minimal, right? But it's never nothing.
We are.
Right?
We
You should
are
always
30
be prepared.
We have 30 seconds to Johnny English midnight.
If you
Just the
see-
Robbie Williams alarm goes off.
If you see Rowan Atkinson, right, say something to a member of staff or British Transport Police. You can text them on 61016. Say it sorted.
Together we can solve this menace.
It's not good to call it the English question, is it?
Well,
I don't think so. But this movie, again, because these movies come out in lulls between Bond movies. This one came out after Spectre, before No Time to Die, when they were still trying to figure out whether Craig could, like, stick the landing or not. And obviously he couldn't, like, it sucked. You were there, some of you, for the Streatham space project for that. But in 2018, they made a 3rd Johnny English movie, and my first note just says, why? I feel the answer may be that Rowan Atkinson likes money and wants to make more of it.
because the second one made so much money. It made like $120 million.
Yeah.
It's crazy
Yeah,
how much
Thanks
money
to
these
those
make.
damned Argentinians.
Yeah.
They were like,
Well, because-
this
because
is profitable.
They
or
don't
whatever.
have a Johnny Argentinian, right? So they have to...
I tell you what, that would not sell 100 million over here, though.
No, it would
because
not.
one-way
No.
relationship.
Johnny Argentinian, like, resurfaced after a few years after Johnny German disappeared.
Although, we never find out what Johnny English was doing before the events of Johnny English. So, like, I want to see it. What was he doing in the Falklands War? What was he doing? What was Johnny English doing on 9/11?
We don't know.
Now, English, your mission is to infiltrate Wesley Snipes' apartment.
It wasn't the plane. He just knocked everything over in like a madcap antic.
But so, I complimented the last movie, right, for having a guy called Bern Gorman in it. If you might know his face if you don't know his name, right? And I described him, and I sort of regret this, as a man who looks like a nasty little freak, right?
He
And
does.
I said that they don't cast actors for looking like nasty little freaks anymore, and I said that this represented a decline of cinema. I'm very sorry. This movie begins with Kevin Eldon.
Guy I I love to see. Like
Truly.
a veteran British comedy actor.
Yeah,
Hey,
and
look, nasty little freak I love to see.
Also, he's like 65 years old and does not look it. Like, my man is exfoliating. He looks great.
well, he looks 30, but he looks 30 and like 2 weeks dead is the thing. Like kind of recently exhumed.
That's what I'm going for.
Yeah, Dracula's ex-girlfriend.
Well, thank you.
But so, like, all of these movies seem to start with a close-up of some, like, horrible, nasty little freak's face. And so, in the first movie, it's Rowan Atkinson. Second movie, Rowan Atkinson again. Third one, Kevin Eldon. And he's, like, the kind of night duty officer at MI7. And because of, like, technology and our modern ways of living, he's on his damn phone.
Yeah.
Fucking fun. Well, he's more than just on his damn phone. He's playing Temple Run.
Yeah, he's playing the kind of
2018.
he's playing the kind of games you get misleading ads for on Twitter, and then appropriately.
We are fucking under attack.
Exactly.
Play with me, my lord. Like that shit.
Yeah, and they are fucking under attack, right? They're under cyber attack
We are
because it's
fucking under cyber attack.
2018. Listen, I'm not gonna say that this movie or indeed any movie needs to write like the IT accurately. That would be the worst, most cinema sins ding thing you could say about it.
Although we
But,
did
like,
get mad in fucking Spectre when Q didn't even airdrop his fucking laptop. He just plugged that shit straight into MI6's mainframe and got a virus. It's like, come on,
This
man.
is basically the same thing functionally in that a bunch of blue screens turn to red and there's a bunch of like flashing angry messages.
That's how you know cyber attack is happening. When
Yeah,
the screen
if-
is red,
If
you're
your screen
dead.
turns red and starts flashing and says shit like agent compromised, you're basically fucked. You shouldn't have turned on Kaspersky just because it was blocking Chivalry 2. The firewall's really sensitive, but you still need it. You want to be selective about
Screen
this stuff.
turns blue, good for you. Screen turns red, agents are dead.
I love the idea that this is some kind of down-home country almanac GCHQ wisdom. Now I'm just a simple country GCHQ employee. My grandpappy told me. Oh my god. But yeah, so like they fucking get cyber attacked and they have to
Yeah.
wake up the prime minister. And this is the first interesting thing about this movie, right? Is that the prime minister played by Emma Thompson, woman I love to see.
That's right, that's right.
Woman I love to see. And the thing is, this movie with satire, it hits a moving target unintentionally, right? Because 2018, they're aiming this at Theresa May.
But they aim for like Theresa May, but like what if she was like 25% dumber?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
she-
hitting like
she-
Theresa May, but she's drinking all the time. She seems really put upon. She seems really like stressed out by something.
She's
Imagine-
blonde.
Can you imagine a politician like that? I mean, someone who's everything about their character says, you know, the outfit says stop the boat, but also I like to party.
Well, she's playing like out of her depth.
This button is holding on for dear life. This is coming off at like terminal velocity and killing someone in the back row.
Well, she plays the prime minister's really like out of her depth and doesn't know what she's fucking doing.
Yes.
And it's
Yeah,
like,
she lurches into the scene like Freckles. She's like, I've had 6 beta blockers and a large iced coffee. Her line is literally like, I've had 2 bottles of wine and half a packet of sleeping pills. What the fuck's going on?
yeah.
Which I
a little bit
appreciate.
charming.
It's Liz Truss.
Yeah.
It's so.
They
It's Liz Truss.
accidentally hit that 30-day window.
It is a pitch.
Some Truss
perfect
fans.
Liz Truss. It's crazy.
It's uncanny how much it's Liz Truss. I appreciate that there's some Truss fans in the audience, you know. Still here, still ride or die, in Liz we trust.
Yeah, I feel like maybe like a lot of our jokes, some of our jokes come from the movies we've watched, some of our jokes are sort of from outside sources, and sometimes I feel like we need to explain what some of them mean, like the Yamcha pose, for instance, or things like that. Liz Truss was a short-lived prime minister. Just in case. She was the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland for about 45 minutes, and what she did was kill the Queen.
Something she had in common with Johnny English.
She
Yeah, because the queen isn't in this one.
killed the Queen, right?
That means
Crash
that the
the
last shot of Johnny English 2 could plausibly be him realizing he has killed the Queen.
Oh no, Johnny! That's probably why they kicked him out of MI7 this time.
Yeah.
It's a real shame. Yeah, killed the Queen, crashed the economy, and then like obliterated about £1,000 worth of bathrobes.
Yeah, been there. And then pieced the fuck out. You know,
Yeah.
she's at the fringe right now, living her best life.
She tried to do like a right-wing grifter thing over in America for a while, didn't work because she's got no charisma and no one likes her.
And now
So
she's just
like
doing
in
self-care.
Liz we trust, baby.
Yeah.
She's here tonight.
Did you say she's at the Fringe?
Yeah.
She better be.
No, she is. She
Has she
posted
got a show?
Oh, she is?
No, she's going to other people. She's
Oh, okay. I thought you meant
Well,
she was
that's fine.
doing like a 55 minutes above a pub. Like,
really, yeah. Liz Truss, type 5.
I can't say I wouldn't go.
That's true. I absolutely would.
Hand on heart, I can't say I wouldn't
yeah.
check that out.
I would go on behalf of the transgender community.
Oh. Okay, so I know which one of us is getting arrested after the show. I want to distance myself.
Yeah. She's probably got some speeding tickets too, I reckon.
We're actually.
I don't have speeding tickets. I'm far too gay to drive.
Not you, Liz Truss.
We're
Liz
going to
Truss,
be
yeah.
we're
You
going to
don't
be
have any
pursuing
speeding
like
tickets.
disciplinary action against Abigail Thorne for that remark, which killed James Bond.
Buy me
LLC
a drink
does not.
first.
So, because of the cyber attack, right, every agent has been compromised. They've fucked MI7's cyber pussies. And so, the Prime Minister is like, I don't care, I've got bathrobes to soil. Just get a guy who's so old that you have paper files for him, that is like pre-digital, right? Back in the halcyon days of like 2003, when nothing was on the computer.
Yeah.
So we cut to Jonathan Englishman, and he's in the woods. He is like doing a pursuit, and the person that he's pursuing falls into a hole, which gives me the drop. Where the fuck is it?
That is a first-class man-trap.
Okay.
Which is a weird thing to say, but a weirder thing to say to a child.
Yes. Because it turns out these
We need to make him relatable to English people. What's he doing? Hunting children through the woods.
He's loose in the woods.
Because it turns out that like he's a teacher at this fancy boarding school,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Hogwarts school for spycraft and torturing.
He's doing Jim Preto shit from Tinker Tailor. Like the references don't stop. And he's teaching, but he's mixing in espionage lessons with his teaching. And we see one of the ways in which he does this is, well, listen, I'll just give you the dialogue, and let me tell you, this is the worst drop I've had, and all told, there are 5 racist noises drops. This is the worst one. This is English to a classroom of, I'd say, like, especially young children as well.
You're looking particularly beautiful tonight.
You're looking particularly beautiful tonight.
He's like training them how to be a spy. Like
This
I don't
is
know,
a safeguarding issue.
It's a huge
It
thing.
is.
You can't, like, if your teacher starts mixing in seduction class with geography, eventually you may receive a medium-sized settlement from your school. There'll be a real dick about it, but... So...
Was yours only medium size?
I mean, there's so much about me. Anyway, they
Not from where I'm sitting.
again, this button is... They call him in back to MI7. They're like,
Yes.
we need you back for one last job.
Yeah, and he's just like, fuck them kids.
Yeah, drops them
Instantly.
instantly. It's
Out
like,
of there.
They'll manage. Substitute teachers for the next 6 months, you know? And they get him in, along with 3 other old men. 3 other, like, kind of legends of the game, former agents. And, man, this is the other thing, right? Is if you know enough people, if you're famous enough, you can just get people to be in your movie for one scene and just do whatever.
It's fucking lame.
It's like, he's got fucking Charles Dance, Michael Gambon, and Edward Fox. Like, legitimately good actors
What are you doing?
to be...
Have you spent all the money?
It's like going up to Edward Fox, being like, hey man, love Day of the Jackal, love your weirdly unsettling horse-sized teeth. The accent's still sexy, even though you're like 90 years old. Do you want to be in my like sequel to a sequel where you play the silliest, oldest cunt in the world?
Just
And
texting
Edward Fox
Brandon
is like,
Rogers
yes.
right now saying, gonna edit you out of Dracula's ex-girlfriend.
Yeah,
You
my
get
note
Michael
is how
Gambon.
embarrassing would it be to keep just like name dropping people you know.
But so these are the kind of
we no jokes. We thought about reaching out to Jared Leto.
taking a break from the kombucha business.
No comment.
So these are the kind of chads to Johnny English's Virgin, right? Because he shows up in his like tweed jacket and his shit old car, and all of these guys are like shaggers, you know, like just because they're old, they're like, I've got the exploding stun grenade pen from my old spy days, and I'm going to use it to fill out this form and to play kind of chicken with the timer. You know, he takes the cap off and it's like it's on a 20-second timer. He's like hovering over the thing. Can you see what happens next, right? It's a joke with a lot of foreshadowing. He sets off the fucking stun grenade.
Yeah, he sets off a stun grenade.
It's I don't know, it's kind of cute though, because he like drops the pen, he like fumbles it into the teas. He's got 20 seconds to find it, and then like he can't find it in time, so he just leaves the room and closes the door. We hear the stun grenade go off, and then when the MI7 people open the door, these three old men are just like knocked out asleep, and he's like, oh, they all dozed off, and that's how he gets the job. It's kind of cute.
Six ruptured eardrums. Also, the thing I like about this is as he's trying to find the stun grenade like timer thing, Charles Dance gives him the Charles Dance classic, right? Which is every role he's ever been in, it's the direction seems to be strain as hard as you can not to call the guy in front of the camera the F slur. So he's just looking at him like, you know he's thinking it. So he incapacitates all the other agents, and they're like, I guess this is the only one left, you know?
And like the new Pegasus, he's a bloke this time. They're done with that
Gillian
shit.
Anderson, fucking
She's
dead,
gone.
retired.
Well, yeah, she got fired after Johnny English killed the Queen in front of her. So it's like they were like, "You gotta get out of here." Man.
Yeah.
But he's like, "Who are you?" And it's like, "Well, this guy was the King of England briefly, like a couple of years ago."
Yeah.
You think some of the students might know that instead of being on their phones? Just like, yeah, my
You have
English.
to learn his name.
Like when I went to school, right, it was special if a teacher had a doctorate or like taught you seduction classes. Let alone if he was a fucking knight. And my geography teacher, Sir Johnny English.
Yeah, my geography teacher, King Johnny the First of England. Like, I'd mention it. I don't know.
Also, like, do the people not know he attacked the Queen? Like, what's he? Like, if you were the monarch and attacked the previous monarch, like
That's news.
yeah,
surely.
you go down in history for that shit.
They gotta put that in the papers, surely, right?
But so they recruit him again, and they're like, "We need you back for one last job." And weirdly,
Again.
at this point, because he gives him the list of shit he needs, right? Like, I'm gonna need the fucking T2 exploding banana or whatever. I'm gonna need the like rocket propelled brogues. I don't. But then he goes, and I'm also gonna need a boff. And I'm like, what the fuck is a boff? And I have the fastest and briefest run of Stockholm Syndrome I've ever had in my life. Because I'm like, oh, okay, so the main guy's a daft old bastard now. Yeah. And we're going back to the first one again. This is just more Bond stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate someone willing to depict themselves as like a stupid old cunt in general, right? Like, it's why I was writing for Biden. But so he takes them back to the shitty office he started Johnny English 1 in. You know, it's like when a video game does that. It's like, oh, it's the tutorial level again, but you've leveled up a bunch of times, you know?
Now you can take out Ben Miller really easily. What?
Yeah, I guess so. And Ben Miller is there, looking older, and he's back in this movie. I guess like Rowan Atkinson forgave him for being funnier than him. I mean, there are strict conditions. There are like bail conditions on that because he's not in this one. Like, he's not funny at all.
Yeah.
in this one.
He's not funny in this one. They must have like not allowed. He's got an ankle bracelet on. Like,
Yeah. We'll
Surgically
see if he's in
implanted
the fourth one.
Suicide Squad bomb into the back of Ben Miller's neck. It's like if you overshadow Rowan's physical comedy one more time, just detonates the top of your head.
if the tag hears laughter, it just like administers the cyanide and kills him.
Let me tell you this for fucking free. It would be easy to overshadow Rowan Atkinson's comedic chops in this fucking movie because he doesn't do any jokes.
It's true. They kind of
He
forget
just
to
does
do that.
pratfalls.
I guess maybe the alternative is that transphobia makes you not funny anymore.
It's plausible.
It's very true.
Maybe that's what happened to
It
Ben
rots your
Miller.
brain.
Noted J.K. Rowling fan. Hasn't apologized for signing that open letter. Can apologize anytime, Ben.
But for the moment, right, Ben Miller is here. I'm laughing. I'm clapping like a seal. I'm an oaf. Like, I'm just like, yeah, this is kind of funny, I guess. They have the kind of the 24/7 total power exchange DS relationship that exists between English and Bough is back in
Yes.
full swing.
So
it's like
excited
the
for the
Duke of
Dom sub
Burgundy.
shit.
It's
Let's
like
go.
cyclical, right? Like
He's
the
back.
day starts over again. English is drinking a lot of water.
His boots are looking real shiny in this film.
But so Bough's like, I'm so glad to be back. We got to do the Q scene now. Q from the last film, also not in this.
Gone.
Dead.
No,
Dead.
Q is now woke, soy, gay.
He's gay. He's twink. He's double twink.
Yes.
He's the twinkest Q I've ever seen in my life.
They tried to do the Ben Whishaw twink Q thing, which first
They
of
did.
all implies that English killed the last Q by tipping him out of his own wheelchair.
Yeah, we don't see him again after that.
No.
So
That's a good point.
But also,
a wake of destruction behind.
yeah, no kidding. But also, the Q branch looks like an Apple store now, and they have a twink in a sweater who's clearly parodying Ben Whishaw. Except at least they let Ben Whishaw be Q, right?
Yeah.
They didn't rename him to R like John Cleese, right? And this guy is P. He has a big little P lapel.
Yeah, he's the Portamus.
Q.
Q comes from something.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
it's-
the one joke I wrote for this whole series of live shows, and the funniest one, is about this very thing. I'll get there.
Oh,
but
fantastic.
before I do, right? English is I don't. It's all phones and shit,
yeah,
right?
this is where the movie begins. It's like everything is gay now.
Yeah, fully,
Look, which-
serious, boomer particle. I think I have
Fully.
to drop here.
There's a Twitter handle, Instagram feed, and secure login for the department Uber account.
What's he on about, Buff? I need a weapon and not a box of gobbledygook.
Yeah, I couldn't understand it either. The tannoy at London Euston. But
Because he tries to give him his gadgets, and it's like a phone, and he's like, "Oh, does it explode? Is it a stun gun?" He's like, "No, it's a phone." And he's like, "Oh, have you got anything else?"
He has to ask for a gun, and P fully tells him,
We don't really do guns anymore.
which is the
Very
most.
plaintive.
Yeah, it's quite at least now we know what the P stands for.
Pussy.
Inventing
Oh, I thought you were just calling me that.
We're pursuing strong disciplinary action. Inventing the PH slur
Get my
on the
hopes up.
stage of the Ethical Society is a real career high point for me, I have to say.
To thine own self be true.
But so P is like, all right, well, I can give you a gun, but I'm gonna need to do some health and safety jokes first.
2018 this came out. The health and safety shtick was old by 2013.
They did it in the last movie. They had Pegasus be MI7's weapon is dialogue now in the last movie. It's a perfect metaphor for this kind of shit because it's purely imagined. There was never a pre-lapsarian MI7, right? Because even in Johnny English 1, it was it was too woke for him, you know?
Well, in many ways, Johnny English is a man out of time.
This is true. But so he has to give him the whole health and safety spiel, part of which is it includes the phrase, any agents with nut allergies. And I love this idea that allergies are woke.
Yeah.
The fucking soy boy collapsing on the floor from anaphylactic shock.
Yes.
Looking for attention, your special injection pen.
I'm pretty certain they used to have those and people just died at birth of them.
Yeah, I mean, occasionally you see people oh, when I was a kid, there was no genders, and nobody had any allergies, and nobody had any mental health problems, and it's yeah, everyone ate peanut butter and died or killed themselves or had a drug addiction. It was worse.
These days, you can only die out of eating peanut butter if you go to Pret a Manger. It's little health and safety joke for you there. Also, as far as these things go, I think that if you're gonna do a health and safety spiel for issuing someone with anything, a gun should be on the list, right?
Yeah.
I want the guy to get a health and safety briefing about the gun, maybe.
I mean, if only as a test of his patience. I feel like you shouldn't be able to get a gun unless you can tolerate some degree of bullshit.
The mandatory 3-day waiting period kind of thing. Yeah. Just, I mean, like...
It's a fucking 23-year wait for gun now. It's awful.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
It's all right. You can always source your own. Don't wait. No. Okay.
Cut the stream. Cut this. Ooh.
Okay. We're pursuing strong disciplinary action against me later, I hope. We're probably doing like drinks at the pub around the corner. So they give him the gun, and they give him the health and safety thing, and they, since this is 2018, presumably go, by the way, you're now legally immune from any consequences of using this on anyone. Then you got to give him the car.
All right, well, okay, so
go
guns
on.
are gay. Right, no, not guns aren't gay. Phones are gay.
Phone's gay.
Phone's gay.
Health and safety's gay.
Gay. Yeah,
Having
true.
nut allergy, that's gay,
Yeah.
first of all. What else is gay? Electric cars.
It's true. Because they take
Thank
him
you for joining
into,
us, Mr. Clarkson.
They take
I see you made it here after all.
they take him into a big hangar full of like silver and grey electric
Hybrids,
cars,
yeah.
which would like blend in most places in like Britain, to say the least, probably in Europe. Be a good car for a spy. Very economical, doesn't attract a lot of attention. Quiet, lets you creep up on people. And the punchline is, you can take any hybrid you want, and you get an unironic, like, boomer disgust look off of Rowan
Genuinely.
Atkinson. There's not even a joke here. He's just like, ugh, gross.
Oh, the planet gay.
And so instead, he
Air gay.
Yeah.
he pulls a tarpaulin off of the real star of this movie, which is a red
Beautiful
Aston Martin
red Aston
V8
Martin
Vantage.
V8
Now,
I mean...
We get some fawning shots of that V8 Vantage because this man is
It's-
a car guy.
yeah.
He doesn't give a shit
in
about
that
the
he
rest of us.
fucks them. He has
Yes.
sex with these cars.
Yes, and he sped with them several times.
Like,
Yes.
criminally, in fact.
Yeah, he's dodging those tickets. It's fucking crazy. Anyway,
We can
Johnny
disavow all of
English.
this
I mean,
later.
this isn't... it's not the color I'd want, but this is the car I want.
it's a nice.
It's
car.
really nice.
This is they've figured out that they need it to not be a fucking like Bentley or some shit. It needs to actually be like a car that maybe your dad could buy.
Well, this is the car that Rowan Atkinson did buy. Like,
Yeah,
because
obviously.
he's a car guy, because he's a Top Gear guy, it's his car. They kind of made the movie
I don't
around
want
He
it
just
anymore.
wants cars. He literally just wants cars. Like he's only making
it
this.
back.
He's only making this fourth movie because he's imagined another car he wants.
Yes.
He's like, fuck it, I could probably
It's
get
like
him.
it's like us live shows and outfits, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
there's
yeah.
a very, very clear chain of causation, and it's very selfish.
We're not thinking big enough.
We gotta
clearly.
think so much bigger.
Yeah, I mean, but the movie's really like filmed around this car, this horrible car. We had someone in who worked on this movie last night, who came up to us and said, I have been in this car. I think they even drove this car and was like, it's shit. It's a terrible car. But the movie is like, this car fucking rules. It was the last car made before England got neutered by the woke soy gay agenda.
Well, these cars, like in these classic cars, they look really nice, but then you get in them and it's like riding around in a fucking hangover because they're loud and they're hot and they're cramped.
it's a lot
and
like
they
me.
suck. Yeah. It's terrible, which is why I would offend Rowan Atkinson even more by getting one, gutting it, and putting an electric engine in it, just to piss him off.
Nice.
It's a really ugly variation on what I like my favorite Bond car. Like I like this car in The Living Daylights where it's painted black, but he's painted it red and it's horrid. It's like really, I don't know,
The sort of-
gauche, I guess.
The textual excuse for this is that they're dealing with like a hacker, right?
Yeah.
This is a cyber crime guy,
cyber
so we need to
adversary.
go low tech. We need to get like an old fucking petrol belching car. We need to not bring a smartphone. We're going like analog, pure analog.
Yeah, we need
And
a guy. We need the last
so
guy we have
boomer.
who doesn't have pronouns. So, it's just desperately pathetic. And the thing is, something we've noticed across these movies is that decreasingly, Rowan Atkinson is able to resist making himself look cool, or
He
trying
loves
to.
it.
Like the first movie, pure oath. He's like
Pure
running
oath.
into walls and shit. Second movie, the oath has been cut a little bit. It's been like 30% of like Chad, right? So like he can put on, he can like parachute onto a snowmobile, but he can't put on trousers, right? This movie, they forget the oath. They just forget the oath.
He's literally just good at everything.
He's just cool.
He throws the smartphone out of the car window into a bin, and it's like, what? Like, that's not funny.
Yeah.
You're too competent.
This is the guy who, in the first film, like threw his coat to try and land it on a coat rack and like went out of a window and killed
Straight
someone.
out
Like,
the
that
window,
that was a funny joke. Like,
This is the guy who killed the Queen.
yeah.
Yeah.
Although even in the first one, he managed to pull a J-turn off in an Aston Martin.
Yeah, and instead it's just like full force throwing a phone into a bin. It's just like, okay, man.
It just doesn't marry up at all. Like, the description on Amazon is like everyone's favorite accidental super spy or whatever, and it's like, no, he's not.
No,
he's not at all.
cool.
That's not him. He's just doing this shit.
Yeah, he does a like.
He's just an actual spy at this point.
Yeah.
He does a non-morose J-turn, like
Yeah.
a kind of a jubilant J-turn. This is what the J stands for. And like
I
peels
guess
out
you
of
would
the
be
thing.
jubilant after you hit a J-turn. Yeah.
I might be jubilant. Yeah, I think I would be like perfectly like ataraxic. I would maintain, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I would be in a kind of state
be
of
chill.
total equilibrium. You know, I would be like, I accept that the J-turn has happened, but it's now in the past. I'm thinking about the J-turn to come.
Yeah, I'm doing nothing but J-turns.
This is true wisdom. You know?
What's it called when you do the opposite of a J-turn?
I guess that's
An L-turn.
It's got to be an R-turn or something like that, right?
Just be doing that all the way.
yeah.
I hope you enjoyed me trying to figure out what a reverse J was with my finger.
My love, I also did that.
Bear in mind, we sign merch after these. I've had 2 nights of it, and only at the end of last night did I figure out what my signature was supposed to look like.
She was so proud of it, though. It's pretty good. You should check it out later by getting her to sign it.
Yeah, hang out afterwards. I'll sign your. I'll sign whatever, to be honest.
Anyway, Ben Miller says, Rowan Atkinson, our next location is a luxury hotel in the south of France.
Before they do,
They set a
have
couple
gadgets.
of the gadgets.
Oh,
up.
yes,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
yes.
They do the
They
run
have little
through.
gadgets. They have a bunch of. They're largely candy themed, right? Like
Yeah,
old candy, because candy used to not be woke.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
non-woke
okay.
candy, like
Right.
the old style curly whirly or whatever.
Like
Right.
yeah, before they made the curly whirly soy,
Yeah.
you know. So they've got like a sherbet fountain, which if you're old enough to remember what a sherbet fountain is,
not.
Jesus Christ.
it's time to
It's
go
time.
tonight,
It's
all right?
time. Like it's
Let go.
over. You're like done, you know? But the sherbet fountain or whatever is like a transmitter.
Yeah,
and they've got
yeah.
a packet of like old packaging jelly babies. Not sure why it has to be the old packaging other than like for boomers to go, yo, I remember that. You know, it used to be
Genuinely
called a
believe that to
marathon
be the
bar.
case.
And so
Yeah.
Ben Miller's about to eat one of these, and he goes, I wouldn't, because the jelly stands for gelignite, and if you ate one, you would like blow your entire head off and the roof of the car. Much like if you were funnier than me at any time in this movie.
There are 2 in your shoes, Bob. Activated by this button.
Ben Miller's like approaching a joke, and you can hear the beeping get slightly louder.
But so they got to drive to the south of France.
Yes.
Because they're like, well, we want to have a next location, but we don't want it to be somewhere that's like difficult to access or like uncomfortable for us to stay in when we're not on camera. So it's a luxury hotel in the south of France.
Oh,
Yeah.
they've also got they've got like high energy pills and knockout pills. And they're in the same vial, but they're different colors. And we'll go.
Hennemore.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
And so Ben Miller's like, so the cyber attack was launched from the hotel Wi-Fi at this luxury hotel, and we've checked out all the guests, and we found that one of them is like a former mercenary guy called Sebastian Lynch, right?
Wave.
And so they go to the hotel and they find him, and I'm like, if I was launching a cyber attack from hotel Wi-Fi, I would have left shortly after doing that. I wouldn't.
Yeah. Like,
I wouldn't stick around, actually.
Yeah, but what they do
If I was committing a crime using someone's Wi-Fi, I'd be leaving shortly afterwards.
You're getting straight on out of there.
they
Just checking something.
yeah. How's that torrent going?
Just DIYing gun on the internet, actually.
Like it's a bunch of STL files. I don't recognize that file extension. But so
I'll run as administrator. Fuck it. Let's see.
yeah, we got a 3D printer running back there. It's almost done. If the live show goes badly,
None of you are making it out!
yeah, starting with me. So I love the bit where we threaten to kill our audience.
I was surprised they laughed at that, but it worked.
The number of Abigail Thorne credible death threats up to 2 this evening. Just gonna shift my chair a bit further away.
We get very
I get real
confident on the
cranky when I
third
don't
night.
have dinner before we do the show. Anyway, they see this guy, he's having dinner, his phone's on the table, which is very rude. So they disguise themselves as waiters and decide to do French accents.
Jesus Christ.
This
Bear
is
in
a fucking
mind,
bullshit scene.
The Archbishop of Canterbury.
that's our standard for French accent in these movies. They manage worse. It's genuinely, it's like 40 Towers level shit, right?
Yeah.
It's just like Ben Miller and like Rowan Atkinson lightly debasing themselves by doing a shit French waiter act. It sucks. Man. It just
They didn't
sucks.
need the accents though, because the bit where somebody says to him like, "Oh, could you take the shell off my lobster?" is quite funny. That he like doesn't know how to do it because he's not a real waiter, and then he like tries to flambe some prawns and just like sets fire to the whole fucking restaurant.
But see, this isn't really oafish. This is like in the same way, by the same token as in the second one, like flying a helicopter badly is like not an oafish thing to do. Like fucking like skinning ? A lobster. What do you do? What do you do to? What do you do to a?
I'm going
what?
with D-shell.
D-shell.
D-shell, yeah.
Do they okay, fine.
I think
Whatever,
if
whatever it
genuinely-
is you do to a lobster, right?
Yeah.
What did James Bond do to that lobster?
Also, hang on a minute. What fucking restaurant is serving you a lobster and not cutting it in half for you? Like,
we have a sort of a gulf of experience here.
Quite
Your
genuinely.
objection here is like all the times I've eaten lobster, that's never happened to me. And my experience is I have never eaten lobster because I'm too scared of
Genuinely.
them having to like devein.
I think
even if you
if
order a
someone
whole
like
one-
asked
Them having
me,
to exsanguinate the fucking lobster. I don't. It's going to
How's
be a
everyone
whole
else doing?
thing.
You
Someone
good?
else has to do it for me. It's embarrassing. I don't want to do it.
genuinely, if someone asked me to like de-shell a lobster, I would kill myself on the spot. Like there's just like
Yeah, you just
no
have
way.
I'm 3D printing a gun in the back of the
No.
restaurant on their Wi-Fi.
Can
When
you
it says
de-shell
Wi-Fi for
it?
customers only, I was taking that very literally.
no, even if you order a whole one, they should cut it in half. They should bisect the lobster and then give it to you along with the tools to pick the
Like it
lobster
when
meat
they
out.
quadrisect the lobster.
It's still pretty hard from that point.
It is, yeah.
From
It's a difficult
experience.
food. I
it's a
think
tough food.
cafe with a chalkboard up that says no
Regardless.
Wi-Fi, bring a gun like it's 1979. Bring a real gun. Just really anti-3D printing.
For an analog gun, real old school.
This is app shit. You know?
It's like a flintlock pistol or that.
Yeah, this is the only thing that still works against the cyber attack, you know?
Yeah.
But so, yeah, they set the restaurant on fire. They grab this guy's phone on the way out. They go through it, and they find that in the background of one of this guy's, like, selfies with his wife is a yacht. The yacht is called the .calm. Calm is in, like, ataraxia. Like, sort of emotional equilibrium, right? Except the way that Rowan Atkinson pronounces the word calm...
The .com.
The
.com...
And Ben Miller has the idea that, whoever was on the yacht could have parked the yacht outside the hotel, used their Wi-Fi, and then just sped away.
Which is not the guy. I guess this is a kind of good representation of British intelligence because they did burn down an entire restaurant to hack the phone of a completely innocent man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also spotted that. Like, this guy doesn't come back. Like, he's not connected to this in any way.
No, he's
This is theft. This is crime.
Well, not since the covert human intelligence sources.
Yes, that's very true.
But yeah.
It was also legal when Johnny English fucked him.
Being enticed into a relationship with Johnny English. Horrible. I mean, I guess that's just Rosamund Pike in the last movie, you know? Like...
Yeah, she to be fair, she left him pretty too sweet after he killed the queen in front of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did not stick around for this.
Well,
not
I mean-
not many relationships would survive that, I don't think.
Rowan Atkinson must have some kind of riz because
Mine
he
would.
dated James Acaster's girlfriend. Famously.
He did, yeah. He cocked James Acaster.
Feeling insecure, I guess.
Rowan
Like,
Atkinson is
troubled?
not stealing your wife. Like, there's no way.
Fucking better hadn't, you know, because I'll 3D print the shit out of something if he tries. Credible death threats counter 2. 0, surprisingly.
All of mine have been to myself thus far.
Okay, sure.
And I guess every old person in the world. earlier on.
We count those, I'm pretty certain. But so, oh Christ, what happens next?
We get another Thompson Truss scene.
I
Right?
wrote Emma Watson, which would have been a much better film. But yeah, the Prime Minister
It's
Emma
called
Thompson.
the cut scene.
No, Truss scene.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like playing it as a video game and just like, why do none of the controls respond to it?
I'm afraid.
just like sitting in front of Johnny English with an Xbox controller, just like this cutscene long
This
as
is
hell.
long as hell.
Were there any Johnny English
Metal
video
Gear
games?
Solid ass. Huh?
Someone said yes automatically out there.
If
Which
they
implies to me that not only do you know that it's true, but you've played it.
if they made a video game, that's terrifying information.
And also, if you're playing Johnny English the video game, if you fuck up, do you win or lose?
2003.
It's a very philosophical question.
I'll get the tube. Anyway,
3D printing a tube.
the Prime Minister is watching a presentation by Jason Volta, who is a tech billionaire, the CEO of Volta Tech.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg.
Elon Musk pre-brainworms.
Yeah, 2018.
And like, well, actually, Mark Zuckerberg post getting ripped as well, because he's like muscles, black t-shirt, and his deal is to like disrupt, move fast, and
Tech
break
guy.
things. Yeah, and he's
Tech
like,
guy.
we could like do algorithms and make any shitty, backwards, second-rate country into a world power again. And she's like, that's Britain. That's what we are. We're shit. We're shit.
Yeah, it is very funny.
It's so Liz Truss.
Yeah, it's really funny that she does just immediately fall for this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's 100% Liz Truss here. And so she's like, get this guy to Downing Street, where I will put the moves on him, right? And we'll go through some bathrobes or whatever. And
says
Britain's
this.
going to be back on top. You know?
She says this to Amit Shah, who is playing a man who is very clearly supposed to be like a Rishi Sunak stand.
Yeah.
Like
It's wild. like,
this is pre-COVID Sunak, 2018. This was back when he was just like a fresh-phrased piece of shit cunt motherfucker. Like before he like properly kicked off, you know.
yeah. When people were
Still
just
the
like,
richest
that,
guy
that,
in
like,
Parliament at that point, but
Yeah,
like
but it's like the technocrat guy, the
Yeah,
guy
exactly.
with the clipboard kind of thing, you know? Like being Liz Truss's sidekick, which is not how that works out, as it turned out.
There is a
Theresa May.
really funny moment. There's been another cyber attack, and Pegasus says every flight in Europe has been rerouted to Luton. But
that is funny.
the disgust in his voice when it's been rerouted to Luton. It's so
the
fun.
thing is, they do this joke again. There is
Yeah.
another cyber attack, and they do the line, every train in England has been rerouted to Bristol Temple Meads.
I'm sorry, Bristol Temple Meads is not the Luton of train stations. Bristol Temple Meads is a nice station.
It's a lovely station. It's a great station, folks.
We've got some Bristolians in.
The mayor of Bristol here tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
But yeah, so she gets him into Downing Street, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, English and Bough are in the south of France, and they got to get on board this yacht. So first they use the shoebox inflatable, which is a funny pair of words, allegedly. And they get like full like rubber inflated against the car. It's like sick. It's really sick shit. Like,
can
Get it off
Google-
inside the
it gets
car.
quite dark. It's
Google
like,
Johnny English inflation if you want to see
Yeah,
it.
it's-
Just so that.
it's not like this movie's rated like PG. It's no.
They use magnet boots to walk up the side of the yacht.
Yeah, and those magnet boots are powerful enough to like move all of the cutlery in the kitchen, which means functionally you're just giving everyone in the yacht like a free MRI. Killing the one henchman with a pacemaker just outright.
Someone's having like fillings pulled out like it's fucking Magneto.
Oh. Magneto in the metal-free prison, and Johnny English comes by in the fucking magnet boots. I hate it.
This is like a half funny joke, right? Because they're going up the outside of it, like we've got the element of surprise on our side, and you see inside that it's like a kitchen, and they're watching like a bunch of cutlery just go up the wall. And it's kind of funny. I don't know.
Yeah, this is kind of funny. They kind of do have the element of surprise for a second, and then they are immediately captured by Olga Kurylenko. You may remember from women who were in Bond movies like 5 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, they do the same thing that they did with Rosamund Pike, and it's like she was a Bond girl, and now you're a Johnny English girl, and it's like, oh,
What a downgrade.
It's functionally a demotion, you know.
yeah.
You're still, within the kind of universe, but you've been moved. It's like being moved parish, you know. Like,
She survives the events of Quantum of Solace, right?
I believe so, yeah.
In this case, it would be very funny if this was the same character.
Yeah, I think
she
so.
here
She's
is
a
playing.
Russian Asian in this as well, so yeah, maybe.
She's playing Russian Girlovich.
Yeah.
Sister to Russian Guyevich. From movie number 2.
No, Russian Guyevich has changed their pronouns.
Can't keep up with this woke shit.
Oh, good for her.
Swear to God, you can't say anything these days. Men turning into women. It's just...
I know.
All right.
I know.
But so
She locks them in a cupboard.
yeah.
yeah.
I will also say this. Right, not the first time I've said this about someone who's transitioned. Better straight woman than I thought. Like, genuinely, she out-acts Rowan Atkinson in this. Because
Yeah, she's good.
they escape. English plants the sherbet fountain transmitter thing on a server rack, and then as she's sort of chasing them, he goes, "Oh, I'll see you again." Dives backwards over the sort of edge of the boat, lands on a lower deck, and she lands a perfect that's sooner than I thought. It's
Funnier
a
than
better
him.
joke.
Funnier than him.
She's got better comic timing than he does now, which is grim. Like all of your talents just turn to ashes. It's horrible. A grim portent of things to come. Come to kill James Bond in 2060 in the kind of blasted remains of England. And you'll be like, oh, I get that reference, We old as fuck.
We get this weird line next because English and Bough are having lunch and they have this conversation about what they've been doing for the last 8 years. And then Bough says, oh, were you teaching? And he says, if by teaching you mean scouting. I'm like...
You're looking particularly beautiful tonight.
You're looking particularly beautiful tonight.
Yeah...
Like I say, it makes the papers 5 years after you leave the school, and then you're like, that guy! Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
And then this other exchange happens where Bough says, I got married. Fuck off. And there's a pause. And I'm like, are they going to do it? Are they really going to do it? Because Johnny English looks at him
Gay Boff?
yeah, and he goes, yeah, to a woman, Lydia. And I'm like, oh, beard Bough! It's all, I'm like, oh, come on, it would have been funnier if they were gay. It would have been nice.
The scene is truly heartbreaking when you're as deep into the Bough X Johnny English /Vic scene. Literally one work on AO3.
More
2,000 words
now.
roundabout. It's all right.
Yeah, heteronormativity comes even for the Boff,
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame, really. All those nights they spent together, lonely in the tents on missions, all gone now. And he drops it like a clanger. Well, it's actually quite funny that he's like, yeah, my wife was a nuclear submarine captain, meaning she's at sea 6 months out of every year. And it's hard not to read this as him, but yeah, she's away for 6 months. Actually, Johnny, I never see her. It's so lonely being a Bough.
And also Johnny English is sexist again.
Yeah,
Like,
he is, yeah.
He worked for a woman. That was his boss in the last movie, and also worked with a woman who fell in love with him. And he wasn't that sexist to either of them. He wasn't like, "Oh, are you getting the coffee or whatever?"
Yeah.
Whereas this one, he's like, "Oh, what does she do? Fucking, I don't know, wear a lot of Laura Ashley dresses and has to be
Yeah,
like."
he finds out that she's in the Navy, and he's like, oh, is she a traveling secretary or
And not
a
to
chef
defend,
or something?
yeah, not to defend the institution of the Royal Navy. Far be it from me, a person who once stopped a whole podcast to mention that you don't lift the port to defend the Royal Navy, but
Said I was sorry.
Jesus Christ, man! It's just it's so laser targeted at boomers here that it's just when did Johnny English become this? It was already grim to start with, but now it's just Rowan Atkinson looks down the camera and says things he thinks, or things that he thinks your dad will like.
Fully.
I'm actually genuinely concerned where they're going to go in Johnny English 4.
Ooh, I have some thoughts about this.
We'll get on. Well, actually, we're about to get to the scene in this film.
Oh yeah. So we are, because they have to have a chase scene now, right? And Olga Kurylenko is driving like an electric BMW, and this is the closest. Yeah, it's the closest we get to like self-deprecation here, because Boff has forgotten to refuel the Aston Martin, which English has said is like surprisingly economical to run. Funny, right? You love a joke about Aston Martin fuel economy, don't you?
Yeah. I was hooting.
That's relatable.
Yeah.
Very relatable.
So it's a lot like kind of lobster deboning.
In very many ways, it's the lobster of kind
You don't have to debone lobsters. They don't have any bones.
They're on the outside.
Hey, when I have to debone my Aston Martin, this is a whole world of experience which is foreign to me. You know, like
Regardless.
No, I shouldn't tell that story. That's cruel. I was at a party with someone.
Here we go.
Okay, hang on.
They're a nice person, and I don't want to identify them. I was at a party with someone once who looked me dead in the eye and said, "Because I went to Oxford, I can make myself like relatable and charming to anyone." And I went, "Yeah, bet."
100%.
I don't doubt it. When do you start? It paints them in a really unfair light, but like,
Yeah. Who knows
just
who that
mentally,
could be?
there was a
Anyway.
small lobe of my brain that was 3D printing in that moment.
Regardless.
But so she's driving the electric car, and Boff's like, God, that electric car really seems like it's the way of the future, doesn't it? It's a lot like the kind of cope segments of later Top Gear, where they would do a thing about like, you know, the 900,000-pound Lamborghini EV, and Jeremy Clarkson would be like, actually, my career hasn't been worthless. It's not all over because you can still drive the fast dickhead car and not kill the seals or whatever, and it's still going to be like the fastest car in the world. And like, it's just... It was cope then, it's cope here, and so you just have Ben Miller being like, gosh, that's awfully grippy in the corners, isn't it? Maybe those electric cars are onto something. Meanwhile, the Aston is still cool, but just like, you know, running out of petrol. It's like, the awareness of age creeps in, but if you have terror management theory, you know, the one truly like unconfrontable thing in the human mind is your own death. And so you kind of like, everything that you do is kind of done in order to distract yourself from that, whether that's like, you know, drive the V8 Vantage or go to podcast live shows or host podcast live shows.
What?
Or
Someone should make a video essay about that.
It could be pretty okay, I reckon.
But yeah, so electric cars are the future, but they're slightly soulless. You know what's annoying? Cyclists, right? And so
Right.
they get blocked off by a peloton of French cyclists cycling in France, in their own country, minding their own business, taking up a lane.
Unarmed.
Totally.
Unarmed.
Well, and what Johnny English does is he fires a rocket with tear gas warheads at the peloton of cyclists. I'm not making this up, I swear to God. He tear gases a bunch of cyclists with a missile.
Now, obviously, we're thinking, oh, okay, well, this is a comedy movie, and Johnny English is supposed to be like wrong and bad. So like, they're going to do something with this. They're going to they'd punish him by like having the tear gas go off inside the car or something like that. But the thing is, the movie genuinely believes that cyclists are gay and annoying.
True.
Yeah.
So he just like
Only most of
authentically
them are.
does it. Like,
Well, I don't know. Like, I found this scene to be genuinely concerning because they're aiming for like Top Gear the movie.
Yeah.
But Range Rover Mum trying to run over Just Stop Oil protesters was just 4 years after this. Like, they've aimed for like Top Gear the movie. What they've hit is like incipient English fascism.
That's where Top Gear
Genuinely,
was always going, right?
Yeah.
This is the thing, is you escalate on these things. You start with Johnny English 1 blowing up a speed camera. You sort of midpoint Johnny English 3 like tear gassing some cyclists. This is like the early years of Mussolini shit. Like, swear down, like right now, Johnny English 4, they're filming him running over a Just Stop Oil protester. Like, motorist as an inherently reactionary caucus, right? And like an inherently English, it's in his fucking name, nationalist-like thing,
A character who, let me remind you, like works for the British government, here tear gassing cyclists. It's like
hasn't committed any crime, legally speaking, by doing this either.
Even if they're in someone else's country.
Yeah, no. I mean, in France, sure, but fuck him. What are they going to do? You know, he's not called Johnny France. He's not called Jacques Francais. So, you know, get it up here.
I would actually like to see. I hope Johnny English 4 is the Johnny English OSS 117 crossover, because I do think that would be quite funny.
True.
But a nice way to heal the divide.
That's just sort of bad cop, Bond cop, but with spies. Fuck, I really want to see that now. Can we like 3D print that up in the back? Like, so there's another cyber attack, right? And Liz Truss is Liz Trussing about it. I like her drink order here, which is a vodka tonic, no ice, no tonic.
Well, she hears about this cyber attack when she's complaining about something else. And what is she complaining about to really ingratiate this character of the Prime Minister?
Oh, strikes.
She's complaining about the junior doctors striking.
Oh, those greedy fuckers.
Those motherfuckers. They're joining with like the train drivers or something like that. Like,
Yeah. How many
Boomer
junior
shit.
doctors and train drivers do we have in tonight? Anybody? Yeah,
nice.
that
Cool.
explains the Aston Martin I saw parked outside. I thought it was a bit gauche to have it painted primarily in like solid gold, yeah. So to establish her as relatable, she's being harassed by strikes, which are really like inconveniencing her.
Hugely.
Which I think is kind of the point of one of those, maybe.
Yeah, that's sort of what the you gotta
The
disrupt.
strike that really enhances Power's life, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, Jason Volta appears in Downing
yes.
Street. He's like, hello, I will, because the cyber attack's going on right now, and there's all the traffic lights in London have turned red. And he said, I will fix these for you, but I just need to reroute all of London's traffic data through my servers.
Will undo the plot of the Italian Job.
Yeah. And so she's like, yeah, sure, whatever you need. And he hacks British security and does it like with his phone. It's like, I'll help you out.
It's like, you know, this guy's cool, right?
Yeah.
And obviously evil, but Liz Truss is not aware of this, you know, because she's so harassed by events because of, you know, strikes or whatever.
She's also like horny, maybe? She's like potentially
she's
horny as
super
shit
horny for
right
him.
now.
Yeah.
Which she makes them all leave the room so that she can be alone with this guy at the end of the scene. I don't know.
No, not a fan of that. What
I
next?
don't know where the power dynamics are, but they're fucked. Like, just don't do this.
We go to another luxury hotel next because
Cool.
Johnny English has arranged a date with Olga Kurylenko. And they have this like really quite charming scene at the bar together where he's like failing to be bondish
Yeah,
to
he
her.
fails every speech check.
Yeah. It's quite cute. She orders like a Moscow Mule, and he's like, "I'll have a London Lemming with gin, vodka, Armagnac, sherry, and Parmesan."
Yeah, and then he fill to the top with like Bovril.
Yeah.
Sure. Except, this is the thing about this, because they don't ever really sell the oath bits. So, like, you get the setup to that joke, which is out of social pressure, he has ordered like a horrible drink.
Yeah.
The punchline of that joke is he drinks it and it's vile. But he just drinks it and it's like nothing. There's no
drinks it
reaction.
normal
It's weird. It made me
yeah.
wonder if they'd edited that out.
It gets interrupted by another weaker joke, which it just kind of like trips over itself, you know? And he's like trying to charm her, but is charmed by her because she looks like Olga Kurylenko, right?
There is this, the funniest bit of the film for me is when she then leaves and Boff comes down and
Boff, by the way, who has had to push the Aston Martin the entire way to the hotel. Boff is fucking ripped.
Yeah.
Boff's doing like ultra marathon shit, because that's not a light car, first of all. And he's had to push it like uphill in the south of France in summer and then go and do some spying. Like,
Yeah.
He's
Jesus.
pushing that shit
Subs
with...
really do work harder. Like,
He's a power bottom, all right? We know this. No fucking power.
But so
Yeah, the power
he's just searched her room and he's like, what
Yeah.
do you think of her? And Johnny English is like, oh, she's amazing, she's charming, and she's completely innocent. Like, we shouldn't be spying on her. She's like, she's great. And he's like, I just found like 5 passports
He's
and
like,
like a
"That's
gun, a 3D printer, like a list of targets.
Missing red flags, like, seems like a completely ordinary video essayist, you know? Totally normal, you
And
know?
he like keeps making excuses for her, which I do think is quite charming. He's like, oh, somebody else. It's fine to have like 3 passports these days. Like, well, yeah, of course she's got ammunition. She's a single woman traveling alone, and like I'm around. I'm a fucking danger. Like, she needs that shit. And we see that the FSB order her to kill him.
Yes, immediately. And she concludes that, like, because there's no information on him, he's a, like, real professional, which is kind of true in this.
Yeah.
Like, he's too good at this.
He was the King of England briefly.
It's true.
Like, they keep records of this.
You remember the most obvious joke in the movie? That, like, these pills are the ones that, like, give you, like, 24 hours of total energy. These pills, which are, like, visually indistinguishable, like, knock you out completely. We was having trouble sleeping. You can write the rest of the scene yourselves. Let's like 3D print it, whatever.
He takes the high energy pills and he goes downstairs and just like hits the dance floor.
To be fair, the official stance of this movie is MDMA fucking rocks and you should do so.
Yeah,
we just
Johnny English gets off his
Big
fucking
woo for
gourd
MDMA.
on uppers.
He genuinely just like takes drugs and like dances for like 10 full minutes of movie.
They're playing the weirdest music in this club. They're playing Sandstorm at the start.
They're playing Darude Sandstorm.
I mean, it's kind of like it's sort of European hotel disco. I kind of believe they would play shit stuff like that.
Reasonable. But so the other thing is, this is the Rowan Atkinson physical comedy hour. And so what they've done here is they've gone, right, Rowan, we need you to act like you've just done MDMA. It's just peaking and you have infinite energy. You are filled with boundless love. You're experiencing empathy for the first time. You're grinding your teeth really hard. And he's too old to do it. It's like... Well, it's a lot like Biden, to be honest, where it's just like, this would have sucked if you had been able to do it, but it sucks in a different, more pathetic way now you're not. Like, you got to make way for, like, Boff here, who I guess is your Kamala Harris, I guess. Because he's trying to do like, really high-energy dance moves, and it just doesn't... it's just an old man.
We can't let Boff off the hook about Gaza. They really try to like pretend, but it's it's a new guy now, you know.
Because
I get a lot of messages.
The thing is, right, you can get really into the memes and like be like, it's a hot Boff summer, but like ultimately it's not a hot Boff summer if you consider the kind of geopolitics involved, you know.
He's got sway. Anyway. It's not unreasonable.
Boff could cut off the supply of weapons at any time.
Any fucking time.
So,
and you know, much like Kamala Harris, Boff has a questionable record on trans rights.
You don't want to know what Boff did to those prisoners. Like, California.
Jesus. But so we get a series of attempts of Olga Kurylenko trying to assassinate him. And again, she's a better straight woman.
She's better at this than him.
Yeah, because she's getting like more and more frustrated. She's trying to shoot him. He's like jerking around, dancing too hard. She tries to dance with him and he fully like suplexes her.
Yeah.
He does suplex her
onto a hard dance floor and keeps dancing, which is some kind of a situation where you have to stop that person, I think. Like, even at the most tolerant rave in the world, once you have, like, fractured somebody's cervical spine, right, you need to go to the chill-out room, like, with an escort at that point, you know?
This hotel does not have a mosh pit, okay? And even if it did, there's a limit, you know? You could jump a bit.
Very funny bit to be in like a 5-star hotel and like the Cap Dante being like, open up this fucking pit.
Open up
doing that shit in the Savoy.
Pit.
The Savoy so rarely opens up this fucking pit as well. Fortnam and Mason. I'm just naming places I think would be funny to have a mosh pit.
Actually, Fortnam's, you could put a pretty good mosh pit in the downstairs bit of Fortnam's. That would be quite funny.
Yeah, do you remember when those like anti-austerity protesters opened up the pit in Fortnam and Mason and then all went to prison for like 15 years off of...
They got some great truffles out of it though.
Again, the golf. Right.
If I'm on that street, I'm going directly to Waterstones. Like, I'm moving past Fortnam and Mason. Don't give a shit.
Moving different to a transphobic book chain.
Moving strangely.
Fortnam's is the second most embarrassing place I've ever been recognized. I was in there buying some sugared almonds for my auntie for her birthday because they're her favorite. And I got recognized by a staff member. And I was just like, I just want to clarify, I don't often come in here. I'm here buying a present, right? But the most embarrassing place I've ever been recognized.
It's just like, is this your loyalty card?
Yeah. I want to know.
The most embarrassing place I've ever been recognized was when I woke up after my orgy.
Fuck you.
And I was talking to the nurse. And
I didn't know they did that in Fortnum and Mason.
You have to ask really nicely. Yeah, they hang them for 30 days for flavor. No. No, I was talking to the nurse after my orgy, and I heard this voice from like the bed curtained off area next to me. So I just went, "Is that Abigail Thorne?" And I was like, "Oh, my
Oh shit!
And I like, had to get up and be like, "Oh, fuck!" I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And she just got her pussy. And she was like, "I came out because of you. I just got my pussy." And I was like, "No one will ever believe you that I was here."
I feel so much sympathy because as much as that's a weird story for you, that's so much weirder for her.
She wasn't the one who had to go to work.
Yeah, but you get out of like pussy surgery, you're on the good drugs, and then you hear the voice of your favorite YouTuber being like, "What's up, chat?" And you're like, "Am I hallucinating this?"
Yeah, she might just have found out now. If you're watching, that was real. I was there.
I guess this would be like if like the lock-picking lawyer happened to be there, or like my vasectomy or something.
Oh,
It's just like,
I would hate to wake up from pussy surgery and hear a little click on one.
we'll move on in a second. Most embarrassing place.
No, it's fine. Getting the lock-picking lawyer in to get the chastity cage off you before pussy surgery.
I think he did do a chastity.
Binding on 2,
You need
little
him.
click on 3.
I got the gamut. Worst place I ever got recognized was I was swimming, and like the dude in the lane next to me knew who I was. And I was like, fuck. And I had not swum in a while. I was not fast.
You were drowning.
Yeah, so like, oh, hey. Best place I ever got recognized, first date with my beautiful partner, Rebecca. Someone was like, "Oh my God, are you Devon?" Like in the street. I was like, fuck yes.
Thanks for letting me borrow the Lamborghini.
Slipped him a fucking tenner on the way back. Thank you, boss man.
That happened to me on my first date with my partner as we were walking along towards the cafe and someone ran down the street after us. I was like, hell yeah.
Okay, I'm getting in on
Sick.
this too. Right, worst place I've ever gotten recognized.
Might as
I was wondering about taking photos, as is my want. And when I'm doing that, I'm so expecting someone to be like, "Oh, you can't take photos here," right? I was taking photos, and a couple stopped me, leaving their apartment building, were like, "Hey, you know Vemba Kelly?" And I was so primed in that moment that I didn't even recognize my own name. I'm just like, "What? Sorry, I'll move."
Already in the camera.
I
Already
was
in
just
fucking
fucking
camera.
settings.
Fuck off.
I just got this. It's brand new.
Probably blurred. I don't know.
And I scurried. Like,
It's out there, Vemba Kelly.
I'm
Just like scooting out of it.
I'm moving in a way previously only described by like a biologist's field notes, right?
Oh, I held it. Beautiful.
You step in some wet cement and in like 10,000 years, they're like, what the fuck were up with these people's feet?
What's going on out here?
Race of crab, people.
The best place I ever got recognized was this year, Glasgow Pride, when the Scottish Green Party asked them if any of their sponsors were complicit in the genocide in Gaza. They called the cops on the Scottish Greens. So there was a like anti these guys protest, like a radical bloc. I got recognized like 3 or 4 times there. It was really chill. It was really nice. I met lovely people, and like it just I had like a real sense of community, and I was really glad for it. You know,
It's really good to go to protests.
it is. Yeah,
It's really good.
you
Get involved, you
can
know.
you can meet some of your favorite podcasters,
Yeah.
or Fortnum and Mason.
We
So
run the
every year
gamut,
in the
yeah.
week before my auntie's birthday, that's when you'll find me there.
What happens to this fucking?
I don't remember where we are.
We're in the luxury hotel. He tried. Olga
he got
Kurylenko
high
tried to
as
kill
shit.
him.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, they go back to London, and he's still
Yeah.
off his tits.
We get our second
yeah.
Buff Ex Machina where he's just like, I figured out where the next location is. Let's go home.
It's back in London because Jason Volta owns the yacht, and he's in
Yeah.
Downing Street right now. We have to go back to London. They're driving back,
yes,
and he's
yes.
still high.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
still like high energy, so he's driving really fast.
And you get a
Fun.
joke that says that that's cool. I wasn't
blows-
expecting
yeah.
this movie to be like driving when you're on drugs. Sick. Like on uppers actually makes you a better driver. That's it. That's textual. That's in the movie.
At this point, they still have no evidence that Jason Volta is behind any of this.
No.
It's purely like hunch based. And so they say, well, okay, what if we break into his country home? And Pegasus is like,
Cool.
yeah,
all
sure,
right,
man,
yeah,
whatever.
Fuck it, whatever.
Yeah, cool. Just fuck around and find out. And my seven's
Yeah.
all about that.
Yeah, and so they get P back in, and P is like, "I have got you." And based on the dates, this must have been like one of the first VR headsets, right? We've got you like a Gen 1 Oculus Rift, and
You forget Die Another Day did this
shit.
gag with the virtual reality glasses.
Yeah, you're right. So basically, he has to infiltrate Jason Volta's politely Grand Designs ass house.
Yeah.
And they've put him on like the floor that kind of like walks against you. But he doesn't activate it because he's a boomer. He's like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
it's
because
fine.
P's like, let me go get the health and safety form or something. And he's like, yeah, that's soy and gay, all right, bye. And then he just like does it himself, but like he doesn't activate the floor. So he like goes out into the world, like he's walking around the mansion and he thinks he's in the mansion VR, but he's like walking around like outside in London, and there's no funny bits at all in this, apart from, we'll get to it. Let's run through this in order.
What does he fucking do?
He attacks a guy in a baker shop with some baguettes.
Yeah, with some baguettes.
He does, while he's sneaking, fully walk on all fours across a street, which, Pride Month seems to come earlier every year. No Johnny English at Pride. It makes the community look bad.
Boffs, welcome.
Yeah, that's true.
He pushes,
Ben Miller,
like,
not, weirdly. He goes on a sightseeing bus and he attacks the tour guide.
That is the only funny part.
Well, because the actor who plays the tour guide is
Yes.
weirdly too into it, and so it just kind of moans a bit when he's getting beaten up.
50-50.
I couldn't relate to this. Don't ask me how I got these.
It's Johnny English comes up the stairs onto the top of the bus, and the tour guide is like giving his tour, and like Johnny is walking towards him like karate stance, and you see this guy like looking like backside to side, still giving the tour, and just being like, "Am I, sir? Are you?" That's the funny bit. That reaction shot is the funniest part of this movie.
Johnny English approaching you at walking pace.
Yeah, exactly. You will
God,
not
like the
goon my
monster
ass,
from
sir.
It Follows. But it's Rowan Atkinson.
Oh, fuck that.
Terrifying. But yeah, it's just this kind of unsettling sequence of him lightly hitting a succession of men, one of whom is going like, ugh.
Oh, sorry, he does also like Uncle Chop an old lady in a wheelchair.
He does, yeah. He pushes
True.
her into traffic.
Yeah.
True.
Don't worry about that.
And
She's
then,
fine. She's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
and then
she is then, that
like,
should be fine.
perfectly makes his way back to the starting point, having like nominally completed the VR mission, like
Yeah.
Raiden.
Ha, 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 ha.
And
Ha, ha, ha.
yeah, it's very funny, I assume.
Then when he does it for real,
Yeah.
Ophelia, Olga Kurylenko, just immediately spots him.
Oh, and she looks so good in this scene. Like, she's got her hair back, she's got like this black and orange dress.
She looks great in every scene in this
Yeah,
film.
but like especially in this one,
Yeah.
she like grabs him and holds him at gunpoint, and I'm just a little bit like, okay. I mean, my life's fine too, I guess. You know, it's all right.
She puts a gun to his head
Feel
and she's like,
better.
I work for the FSB. And he's like, oh, great, let's work together. And I'm like, it's 2018. I don't think you should be doing that.
Yes. Yeah, that's going to be a sort of a friendship that gets severed very quickly in a couple of years, you know? Johnny English dying of radiation poisoning after a polonium-laced cup of tea.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, spoiler alert, but, like, they end up working together and Olga helps him save the day. But, like, the Litvinenko poisoning was 2006. Like, Johnny English, I don't think you should be working with Russian intelligence.
Pushing Johnny English out of a window, like, bundling him into a holdall. I hate the physical comedy bits in this. I say as Rowan Atkinson is folded into a tiny holdall.
It's kind of funny.
It's, like, really funny and then suddenly stops being really funny.
And then it kind of starts again.
It's kind of funny for a little bit. Yeah, then...
Yeah, you know, it goes around, it comes back.
But they overhear that Volta is behind the cyber attack on the London Eye.
Yeah, which makes it spin really fast. Funny.
Yeah, haha.
Frankly, if you pay to go on the London Eye, you deserve it.
Yeah, I mean that's a cyber attack that could affect upwards of tens of people.
Yeah. Upwards of tens of the worst tourists you can imagine.
Yeah.
Just can't imagine wanting to see more of London. Just like, oh wow, that's London. Yeah, cool. You
can see it from a slightly higher altitude and a slightly lower velocity. Shit.
Dog shit.
Shit landmark for pricks. Take it out of the skyline.
25
Take it off
quid.
the board. All the London branded shit that has the the Ferris wheel in it. Fuck off.
Yeah.
And apart
I
from
guess we're calling it the London Eye, but I think it's like TripAdvisor presents the London Eye officially at the moment or whatever.
yeah, it's like fucking BA branded
some
London
dumb
Eye.
shit.
Toshiba British intelligence bullshit.
When you consider that New Labour left London with a big Ferris wheel and a tent, you do have to imagine if there was some kind of conscious clowning going on there. Like Tony Blair, the most secret alumnus of the École Gaulier.
The government has been infiltrated by clowns.
Yeah, the damn clowns in Parliament.
All right, okay. Big Top, thank you. Don't mind if I do.
So they overhear that Jason Volta is doing this
Why did
cyber
my little end of laugh noise get some of you? Just like that was funny. All right, continue with the bit noise of
and then Olga has to take him fake prisoner.
Yeah, fake prisoner.
And
they
then
did this bit in the last movie with Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah,
until
yeah.
Daniel Kaluuya got killed, I guess.
Yeah, what happened to Tucker?
Dead.
I hope he just resigned from MI7 and is just living his best life.
In protest.
Yeah. I hope he's having a good time.
Good for him. Anyway, he says, I'm British intelligence, and Jason Volta says two words that have no business being in the same sentence, which I thought was quite funny.
Except, we get some politics here, because as Volta watches Boff get chased across the lawn by 3XL bullies, which in many ways is deeply patriotic, he goes,
"What has happened to this country? How is it possible that less than a century ago the British Empire ruled a quarter of the globe?"
But now is represented by these oafs, right? It's like, well, yeah, Britain is ridiculous. We have a big circus wheel in the middle of the capital for a start. But to be ridiculous because we used to have an empire. The empire was also fucking ridiculous for one thing. But also, we didn't become a joke because of health and safety, you know? It's just this... It's this Clarkson-ass script. I really despise it, right? And it's also not something that Mark Zuckerberg would care about. This is deep radicalization Elon Musk shit, right? To be Britain used to be cool, but now it's woke and soy, you know? And he only got to that point last week.
Yeah.
Jason Volta's daughter follows me on Threads, and I feel kind of weird about it.
Yeah, I should have her on the podcast.
Shout out, Vivian, if you're watching.
Yeah.
I'll see you in LA.
But yeah, I mean, this is just the ideology of the Craig Bonds, sort of with a gloss of comedy over it too, right? It's like Britain is a nation in decline. Decline from what? Don't worry about it. Decline to what? Don't worry about it. Why? Don't worry about it.
They believe that the empire was an achievement of cleverness, but no, it was an achievement in cruelty.
Yeah, it was bad. Can we just put that down on the record, by the way? It wasn't good that we had the empire.
Yeah. We didn't get the empire by being super competent. We had some resource management and shit and technologies that people didn't have because we funded it through slavery. But mainly what we excelled at was dehumanizing our fellow human beings. It's good that we don't do that as much anymore, though we keep trying to bring it back for some reason.
I remember a sort of comic attempt to explain this. It called Blackadder Goes Forth with some guy in it. That's not important. But yeah, so he English escapes.
He escapes. They want us to accept that Johnny English can disarm and knock out a heavy goon with his hands cuffed behind his back.
Yeah, and heavy goons...
I won't do it. He can't do that.
Yeah.
He's not a good spy.
Heavy goons can, you can't grapple them either, and you can't move them onto a different tile. So, he's basically fucked. On paper, you know, he doesn't have the moveset for that shit.
Yeah, this is a guy who should have tripped through the kitchen and been covered in olive oil, and then the goons can't catch him because he's slippery. That's how Johnny English escapes. He doesn't escape by actually punching someone.
Yeah, and he knocks the olive oil over accidentally as well.
I'm gonna do something very perilous here. Everyone be normal, right? It's too fucking hot. Right.
You gotta be.
Christ.
You've got to be normal.
All right.
And you need to not gesticulate very hard.
Yep, hands by my sides.
Wonderful.
So I hope we enjoyed the last sort of like hour and a half of motorist bits, because there's some more.
Here comes some more.
There's some more motorist bits.
Here's a joke that was done so much better in The Naked Gun, but we're doing it here for some fucking reason.
Yeah, he interrupts a driving test. Now, a driving test's gay?
Yes.
Is that the bit?
Well, learning to drive is for women.
If you
right?
can't
Because if you're a
drive
man,
yet, it's stupid.
If you're a man, you should already know how to drive,
Yeah.
like instinctively.
What are you doing
In your
learning
haplogroups.
how to drive, you know?
Yeah, exactly. What
You
are
should be able to
hanging
drive.
out with another guy
Ugh.
in a
Just
car
you
with
and
like dual
another guy
controls?
alone in the car?
You fucking reaching
Anything
for the
could
same
happen.
gear stick? Gay?
Anything could happen. Anything could happen.
I gotta get some more driving lessons, I guess.
Charge me with distracted driving.
Now, when I slap my hand down very hard. So
He uses the pedals. He uses the driving instructor pedals
Yeah,
to
yeah.
speed away, and then the driving student drives him all the way to MI7, I guess.
Yeah, because she's
Great.
got the wheel, but he's only got the pedal, so she
Women
takes
can't drive,
her
'cause
glasses
women can't
off
drive.
and it just tells her when to turn the corners, and it's just not really very good.
no, he does do the same joke from the first one again, where he grabs
Gets the wrong phone.
thing.
Yeah,
he grabs
yeah.
her phone instead of his phone.
Absolutely formulaic shit.
And so, yeah,
right
so
now.
when he goes to Downing Street, he's like, I have the evidence to prove that Jason Volta is fucking evil, and it's this like
It's the
cat
wrong
video or
thing.
whatever.
It's like,
Yeah, it's a recording of a fucking birthday party.
It's the same way. But then we get the most interesting bit of this movie, right, which is the
Yes.
politics. Because Emma Thompson is like, first of all, you're fired, right?
Yeah,
Like
fair
she
enough,
hits him
reasonable.
with the like obvious question, which is, what the fuck is wrong with you? Right?
It is
do like
really
that,
funny,
yeah.
finally in movie 3, to have someone turn around to Johnny English and literally
Yeah.
just go, what the hell is wrong with you?
After you
What is
killed
medically the
the
problem
Queen,
with Mr.
Yeah.
Bond? You
what
know?
the fuck is wrong? But she gets this little speech, part of which goes,
Do you have any idea how hard it is to be me? Do you have even the foggiest notion of how virtually impossible it is to get anything done in the face of events and facts and voters and that tsunami of tosspots we call the national press?
because she wanted to do something good for her country.
Oh, it's so hard to be Prime Minister of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
I mean, apparently for Liz
So it seems
Truss.
like it is kind of tough, but
Yeah,
That-
I mean, it's
that's
not
the
easy.
weird bit. Because like she says, I wanted to do something good for the country, and that's why I've got Jason Volta on board to do all this shit. And it's like, I don't believe that Tory prime ministers, or indeed Labour prime ministers, sincerely want to do good things for the country. I believe
Not
they
at all.
tell themselves that, but I think it's like sustained by its own fucking internal logic. I think they do good things for themselves and the party and just brand it to themselves as doing good things for the country.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But this movie wants you to be sympathetic to, I guess, Liz Truss by way of Theresa May, because it's tough. It's tough out there because of events,
everyone's yelling at her just because she crashed the economy and killed the Queen. And
events and facts, and you fucking idiots, the voters.
the bloody voters.
It's your fault, you know? Like, you're constantly putting the government under pressure to do stuff.
This is 2018, by the way, and there's like a bit earlier where she asked, like, has the leader of the opposition come round from his surgery, right? And they go, yes, and she's like, damn it, can't I get anything? It's
Keira
like,
Starmer.
that was fucking Jeremy Corbyn, right? I know that was Jeremy Corbyn. And you cannot tell me that this is a universe in which the press was more arranged against Theresa May right now.
I
than
just
fucking
wanted to do
Keira.
something nice for my country with a bunch of racist vans. And the
I'm
voters,
literally going to go get another drink. I can't fucking
the
do it.
press.
You can make me talk about this, but you cannot make me do it sober.
If the thing's done 3D printing, can you just like shoot me in the back of the head when you come back out?
Actually,
You got about 10 more minutes, I think.
the specific line is, has the leader of the opposition come round from his heart surgery yet? And my notes say, that's Keir Starmer having his removed.
So,
But anyway, now we have to get to the low point of the film.
whoa, first. She does list English's misdeeds, and when she does this, she pronounces peloton wokely,
A guided missile at a peloton of French cyclists?
peloton, as well as baguette.
Organic sourdough baguette.
organic sourdough
She
baguette.
does not list killing the queen.
No. And then she fires him.
Yeah.
Right? And she goes, I wanted to do something nice for my country, and the universe sent me you. And I just get a really nice, like, angry Emma Thompson drop where she just says...
Up the universe's ass!
The volume on that word...
nice.
But again, my life could be a lot better.
And now again, because it's formulaic, we get the sad Johnny scene where he's like, oh, I've binged it so bad.
He gets rained on again.
Yeah.
His shitty car won't start.
It's all condensed though, because last time that scene was at least 3 minutes long. This time, Boff just comes down and goes, wait, no, don't. Just skip the sad scene because we've only got 95 minutes of runtime in this film.
Yeah, we're only going for 89 minutes this time.
So actually, what if we just go, my wife has a nuclear submarine. Done. Bish bash boff.
She's good. She's good, folks.
And at this point, we meet November's favorite character, who is the naval captain of the submarine.
Boff's wife.
Ooh, she's got kind of a Lady Sybil Vimes thing going on, if you know what I mean.
Does she? Yeah, no, you're saying yes because you're imagining something else than what's in the movie. Does she actually?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Kind of stern, older, you know.
I can see it. I think
not to be messed with, aristocratic. Yeah.
I don't know. To my mind, Sybil is big as well. That's one
well,
of the main
not
parts
physically
of it.
necessarily, although by movie standards, she's definitely larger than she's larger than fucking Olga Kurylenko, who's a size 0. You know?
That's fair. But what you'll remember is that this is Boff's wife. Now, would you expect Boff to talk to her in any way, be near her in the scene?
My wife.
Not when Johnny's around. Johnny wouldn't give him permission.
Well, exactly. This shit doesn't work if he's married to a wife. He's got to be fucking available for Johnny.
It's true. I speak to my wife occasionally. You know, I like to think so.
This is alright.
Love you, darling. But so, no, they don't speak at all. Fully. She's just kind of there.
There's also a weird thematic bit where the nuclear submarine is old and analog and not gay.
Surprise is not old. She has a bluff brow, lovely lines. No one would call her old. She's in her prime. It's the same bit.
Past the fucking port. So you can't
port
use
stands by
mobile
you.
phones on the submarine because they're gay and soy, and the submarine will become confused. It'll mess up the wiring in the submarine. So everybody note that down, otherwise you, like me, won't understand the climax of the film.
Joining the submarine service is the one place on Earth I can get away from Twitter.
So they drive the nuclear submarine to outside the G12 summit in Scotland, which I feel would raise some fucking eyebrows. You can't just go wherever you want when you're the captain of a nuclear submarine. You've got patrol routes.
Now, we saw a little film called
And
The
they
Hunt.
are the following.
We saw a little film called The Hunt for Red October that begs to differ. You got some driving time, to work in before anyone notices.
I hate to deflate this, but she says that she's been tasked to do security for the G12 summit.
What kind of security threat?
I don't know. She's got a nuclear submarine. What are you gonna do? If something happens inside of the castle, are you gonna nuke it? She's all right, level it, fuck it.
I mean, they get pretty close, to be honest.
They do. They really do.
So they have to infiltrate this castle, right? Because this castle's in Scotland. And incidentally, the way they shoot Scotland in this feels problematic, xenophobic.
It's they shoot it like fucking Mordor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Scotland only looks like that 11 months out of the year. So it's really unfair.
Johnny English is it is a barren wasteland filled with ash and dust. The very air you breathe is a poisonous fume.
Outside the Tennant's Brewery.
He has an exoskeleton powered by a floppy disk, which
Cool.
update your technology charts. Floppy disks not gay.
Yep.
No.
Floppy disks straight.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Huge.
We got some
Huge
strange
fans
woos.
of floppy disks out there. Good evening. So Jason Volta is at this very moment figuring out that Olga is FSB and is attempting to poison him. And he goes, 1 second, my 3D print's just finished. And so he reveals that he has been doing Mithridatism. He has been taking like small doses of the poison she is about to poison him with.
Nice. This is smart.
So that he's immune to it, which, okay, sure.
And then she has a gun, and he's like, I've been taking small doses of gun.
A small sip of gun
Homeopathic
every day.
gun.
The Harry Dubois diet.
No, like he's taken the firing pin out of her gun, and also he has in fact 3D printed a plastic gun.
He has.
It's a Glock 9. It's a porcelain gun from Austria. It doesn't show up in your airport scanners. It's fully like transparent, like wireframe.
Yeah.
I love Saints Row 3. This fucking sucks, dude. So, English enters the room.
Yeah.
And his line is, "Save the pillow talk for your prison cell."
Okay. Don't like that.
Not a fan of this. And yeah.
Okay, right. The exoskeleton is like really strong. Okay, it's very strong, and he accidentally gets like a fucking suspender caught on the window frame or something, right? And he's walking forwards, and it's stretching the suspender out.
Snag hazards,
cool.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like a thing you can have in Australia as well.
That's not a hazard, baby.
He gets Wile E. Coyote'd out of the
democracy.
window.
Yes, into a freezing cold Scottish loch.
Yeah, where he presumably should have drowned, but sadly, the movie continues.
Yes. And they go, okay, well, we got to do this scene again. You got to infiltrate the thing again. That last scene...
That was a practice infiltration.
Just not had it in the movie.
Just reset to your last checkpoint. So then, this being Scotland, they go in disguised as pipers.
And the G12 summit is happening, and we get a shot of like the G12 world leaders, but they're not like the real ones. They're, like it's not really Theresa May.
Okay.
No, as in like it's not really Theresa May, but it's like a prime minister in the Theresa May vein, right? And what I've noted is like the guy they get to play Schmonald Trump is way better looking than like real Trump. He looks like insanely hot. The guy they get to play Trump in this, he's like a really wide tan guy with like the blonde quiff and the red tie. They get hot Trump.
Hot Trump.
They get the top Trump.
My God. Yeah, man.
I didn't need to put those words together in that. Also, there is a point of divergence here because the G12 of the Johnny English universe includes Pakistan and South Africa. So, you know, reconfigure your CIA World Factbooks, you know. But so, they infiltrate as pipers, and English gets chased, and he has to hide in a suit of armor.
It's kind of like a semi-funny joke that he's playing the bagpipes badly, but no one can tell because they sound weird or whatever.
Okay,
It comes across as very like chauvinist.
Yeah, because it is.
I mean,
it's unkind to do this to Scotland. I feel it's not high up the list of cultural insensitivity, but it's on there. You know,
it counts. It counts. We count those.
So meanwhile, Volta is getting the prime minister to sign over all of the government's data to him, so that he has this little speech, right, about the problems that there are, of which he has long lines in airports. That's the first one he says. In 2018, what's the number one problem in Britain? Fucking queue at Heathrow, no?
Queue at Heathrow, yeah.
Well,
and if
Brexit had just happened,
out
so I guess
Heathrow.
that was like a topical thing.
Sure.
But he says failing schools, crumbling hospitals, and long lines in airports can fix all of those if you just give me all of your data.
Yeah. Sure. And she does. And he immediately goes, yeah, fucking got you. All of the rest of you. Also, because, and this is the biggest cinema sin in the movie, right? It's the thing that I think made me angriest as well, so he threatens her, right? And the way that he threatens her is he tells her what he's going to do. Like so.
If I turn the internet off, cities will go dark. Planes will fall out of the sky. Trains will collide. Law and order will break down, and the world as you know it will be over. Show, don't tell, right?
You may have heard of show, don't tell. It's a little like screenwriting maxim, right? It's something that, like, in a well-written thing, your characters shouldn't use unnecessary exposition, like I'm doing now. Exposition means explaining something that the audience doesn't know. Instead, you show them doing the thing, and you trust that the audience is smart enough to piece it together, right?
Yeah, but they're watching Johnny English 3, so like, let's give them a...
Sure.
Come on.
But
Like,
if you remember in Johnny
quicker.
English 2, right, where the racist bit happens,
Yeah.
and they write
Can
themselves
you be
into
more specific?
the bit where Johnny English calls Daniel Kaluuya's character boy.
Right, yep.
And then in the next line goes, I meant that in a not racist way, right?
Yeah.
That was a situation of writing yourself into a corner, not realizing you have a backspace button and trying to write your way out. This one is like, I'm going to write my way into this corner of telling and not showing, and then I'm going to include the advice to show, not tell, rather than, like, I've remembered this, but I have no backspace function. I can't rewrite the scene to just show. I have to have the tell and then show, don't tell. I hate it so much. It insults my intelligence and yours. It's so unprofessional, and it really fucking bothers me.
Do you think they just had like a writer go through and check things and that was just a note he left, but they accidentally thought it was like...
He like just read that out loud.
yeah, he just read it
Anything
out.
you put on screen, Burgundy will read.
So he turns off all the power and internet to Europe.
Yes.
Everyone is greatly relieved, I'm sure.
Thank God
yeah.
for that.
And he's like, unless all the countries of the world sign over all your data, I will turn off all the power and internet everywhere.
I gotta be honest. I don't
can't
think Trump
do
would do
that.
this.
I don't think he would either.
I don't
he
think he
wouldn't.
takes that deal. I think he's too dumb. Like, I think he would just fully like be the holdout there, you know. But so it doesn't matter because he's working his way through them. And English
Johnny
wearing
English.
the suit of armor.
Johnny English has a suit of armor, but he's gotten caught in it because he fell over doing one of the only funny jokes they've got, which is when he falls over. And I go, that's nice. But he's like gotten stuck in it now, like the buckle isn't loosening, and he is like, he hits it with a bit of oil. He hits it with a lot of oil, actually.
Yeah, he loops the fuck out of it.
He really lubricates that thing.
Like,
they get a real close up on
you know
his
how they
face, and he's like
always say,
running
like-
his tongue across his teeth as he does it as well. It's like
Yeah.
very bizarre.
You know how they say like use more than you think you're gonna need?
Yeah.
This is probably too much. It still won't open, and so he enters the situation. Right, he enters the room where this blackmail is happening. He's like, Avasti or whatever the fuck
what's
you
up?
say when
It's
you're wearing a
me,
suit of armor.
Johnny English. I'm here to do the denouement of Johnny English 3.
Never a fan of the Lego Castle theme, so I don't know what knights say. Have at you, I suppose. Trips, falls, slides perfectly out of the room. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming.
slides because of the oil. There's a lot of
Because
oil.
the
that's
oil,
dropping.
because the lube oil. Yeah.
Out of the scene.
Yeah, hilarious. He then makes a phone call because he's standing near the submarine. The phone call accidentally submarines the submarine, missile submarine.
Well, you see, he's on,
I think.
Well, he's on. He calls up the Secret Services, which, as we know, are run by Toshiba. So immediately they're like, "Oh, for MI6."
Oh, they forgot that joke. It's not anymore. Like they just whatever.
This is just like They're like, "Oh, for MI6, press 1. For MI7, press 3 or whatever." And he presses 3, and like in the nuclear submarine, you see like the launch code open up, and it's the first one is 3, and you go like, "Okay, we're gonna do."
Yeah, he like accidentally perfectly guesses.
That's not how that works.
He just he puts in the launch code by answering
accident.
the questions on like
accident,
the
yeah.
thingy.
Causing the submarine to launch a nuclear missile.
Well, to be fair, they do have to double check first.
They have to check, and because they put the phones next to each other, when English says he needs to order an attack, they hear attack and they order the thing.
They
right?
fired the
it's
missile.
it's textually, I don't imagine it's a nuclear missile. It's just a ballistic missile, right? But like, fine.
It would be
whatever.
much funnier if we could just assume it was a
Nuke
nuclear missile.
Scotland, yeah, for sure.
They're
but
gone. It's over.
I have to do these things. I have to say these things. I'm so sorry. It's the port thing again, right? Because when I really appreciate you guys supporting me. You know, it means a lot because
I didn't say I was supporting you.
Fuck off back to Fortnum and Mason then. It's just.
I think I'm starboarding you actually.
Thank you.
Thank you for the
it's
one person.
obsessive and it's compulsive, right? If you don't lift the port, when she gets the fire order, she says,
General quarters, we are go for launch.
And general quarters is an Americanism. You say action stations. I'm sorry I'm like this, but if it takes you 2 seconds
About
to
England.
find, if you know how to use the computer and do research for the screenwriting that you're doing right then, it's very.
Also, Action Stations is a cooler line.
Yes.
Yeah.
It literally is. It doesn't matter, right? It's purely like a cinema sins thing. It's such a reductive thing to care about. But for some reason I do, and it's the thing that lodges in my brain about this movie. Nothing else will. I don't know why I'm like this. Thank you for listening to my comedy podcast.
We need to have outlets for these things, you know?
So, because he's planted the sherbet fountain on the server rack, it's like designated as like an enemy target.
So the missile goes whoop, and then comes down and fucking obliterates the .com.
Yeah,
And I was like,
like hits
That's
it.
where all the data was being dated.
oh
And
shit,
that
that's
we
where
can't-
they were rerouting the
You
fucking
can't data
Ethernet.
any of the data anymore. Fuck. The plan is foiled.
The .com goes out like James Bond. Like,
Yeah.
getting killed by the Royal Navy. Like, that shit was just about to get married too. Found out it had a kid. I mean, it's rough. But so Volt is like, oh fuck, I'm owned. Immediately tries to flee the scene, which he doesn't need to do. He has like 12 world leaders held hostage.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
funny.
that's a
But he's
position
just
of
like,
strength.
oh, I can't do
it's
the
like-
data thing anymore. I better go.
Me when I like lose one hand of blackjack and I'm sitting on this huge pile of chips, I just toss them all, run. You know?
He also has a gun.
Yeah,
I feel like that gives you some leverage.
yeah, quite a bit, I would say.
Yeah.
You've taken.
I hope so. I'm counting on it.
If the 3D print ever like,
Yeah. Put it on the table in the middle of a meeting.
yeah. Just let them know you have a gun.
Just nothing.
Changes the tenor of the conversation ever so slightly.
What if they then go, thank you very much?
Well, that changed the tenor of the meeting once again.
This is when you pull
Fortunately,
out
I've
your
got my second gun.
yeah, and now the conversation's back on level footing.
Always bring one more gun than you think you need, just in case.
It's a lot
They
like
might
lube
disarm
in that
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Prefer a silicone-based gun.
Are you wearing protection?
Very, very slippery gun. Very buttery gun.
Sorry, babe. The Kevlar vest stays on during sex.
I mean, can it though?
What are we
So
doing
Johnny
anymore?
English goes after him in a suit of armor.
Yeah, the joke is that he has to move really slow because of the armor.
That shit's light.
Yeah, that's your cinema sins ding there.
Yeah.
Is that
Ding. You can do
see
all
guys
sorts
doing
of
like
shit.
doing the Macarena on YouTube.
You
wearing
can do
suits of
star
armor.
jumps in a fucking suit of armor. Like, you have to be able to. It's what, like, it wouldn't work if you couldn't move in it. Like, if in the Middle Ages, it's a bunch of guys just like going like, against each other the whole fucking time.
Be a lot funnier.
It would be a lot funnier.
Anyway, Olga hands Johnny English an iPad and says, oh, use this to hack Volta's computer, his helicopter. And Volta's like, look,
As
you
fu-
can't
like,
work an iPad.
Number of hours in and you're still getting tutorials. It's like it was made by fucking Rockstar.
But it's like, oh, you can't use an iPad, Grandad. And then he just like throws it at him and knocks him out. And I'm like, oh, God. My notes here say, God, the insecurity. Because Johnny English smashes Volta's phone with a sword. And
Well,
it's like low-tech versus high-tech.
But when he does, he like sort of ambles up to the phone which has like a Siri on it, like a kind of AI voice-activated thing, is going like, all the data has been like reconfabulated to the Nevada servers.
We
or
haven't
whatever.
mentioned this because it's not funny at any point, but like the whole way through, he's going like, "What's my plan again, Siri?" And it just tells you what his like super objective is.
It'd be funny if
every
he had like
fucking
programmed
scene.
it to be like too into him or whatever.
But
Anyway,
he didn't.
But,
He
so,
literally-
but so it's lying on the floor and it's like, do you want me to activate the cyber attack? And before he stabs the phone with his sword, damn Black Mirror, he says the phrase, "Activate this." Which seems like the thing that you shouldn't say in response to the question, do you want me to activate the cyber attack? And that's a better joke than they put in the movie.
Yeah, no.
So Johnny English stab phone with sword.
He gets his, like,
stab
big,
phone.
like,
Gay phone defeated.
Phone bad.
It's super sick that his like epic like line is to a phone. You know? Not to like the villain or anything. He's just
God,
like,
you're
looks
so
like I took
right.
you offline, and he's talking about like a shard of glass on the floor.
Yeah, the villain has just been hit in the back of the head with a piece of
That was pretty funny though. That like good physical acting from
got
that fella.
perfectly
He like
Cheryl Cole,
crumples.
yeah.
It was really good.
So
The Prime Minister then
gonna leave
says
that
in
where
front
it
of
was.
world leaders, like, oh, the day's been saved thanks to Johnny English, who is a living embodiment of fundamental British values.
that's right.
That's a
Kindness
phrase.
is not one of the British values.
Well, here we get a rundown of what those are, right? So the fundamental British values are courage under fire,
Okay.
That is.
ingenuity,
Well, now hold on. That isn't.
and quiet dignity. And I think that if those are the three fundamental British values, then every single fucking trans person in these islands deserves a goddamn knighthood.
Right. You're so right. And the thing is, the quiet dignity thing is the only one of those that's really a laugh line, right? Because there's armor fall down and expose his penis. Everybody gets to see like Johnny English's dick and balls.
Cool.
Which have been joked really long thanks to the events of Johnny English 2, which we all
You
remember.
just see a bunch of paparazzi take photos and then pan down,
Changing lens to put a wider lens on.
crash zoom out.
Just like swap into a shorter lens. Just like, oh, hang on.
The fuck?
What the fuck is going on?
Badly joked former king once again saves country.
Yeah, the continuity is real weird with Johnny English.
Well, he's the same guy in all three
He
movies.
was. Okay.
And the day is saved thanks to Czech's notes Russian intelligence.
Yeah, you gotta
Don't worry
hand
about
it to him.
it.
You gotta hand it to him. And Britain is a fundamentally decent and patriotic nation that is also a bit silly, which is not really a crime. Nothing bad. We've never done anything bad. We've just been a bit of a joke, which lets us off the hook a bit, I think. You know,
It's nice. Yeah.
doesn't get a knighthood back.
No, he does go back to he goes back to his old school. And all young people respect you now because you smash phone with sword.
It's true.
And the young people, they're forgetting all about the gender shit now because they're not woke and gay and soy.
They're not
They're
woke
digging
anymore.
man traps in the woods.
That is a first-class man trap.
So we end the
and
movie.
everyone claps.
Well, we have to end the movie not with that bit of wish fulfillment, but with another bit of kind of like cringe, no-don't humor, which is the final shot is the headmaster of the school about to take a bite out of one of the jelly babies, which suggests that a few seconds after this film ends, what is happening is those children are seeing a man get the top of his head blown off, changing the nature of their bond forever.
That shit's like The Boys.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, granted, this would be like the fifth most traumatic thing to have happened at my school, but
Yeah.
like,
They'll take that shit in stride.
even so, that's a lot. To be showered with the like brain matter of your headmaster, you know?
Nah, they're all hardened killers at this point. Johnny's trained them well. They're fucking vicious. One of them tries to garrote one of the other kids, actually. Sorry.
But that's the movie. That's
It's
how
the
it
fucking
ends.
movie. That's it. We're done. No credits scene. They're out. They literally are just like, check please. I'm out of here. Fuck this.
Yep.
Well,
See-
until next time, until Johnny English 4.
Well, yeah, because
Johnny
he imagined
English.
a new car he wants, so he's back. Like, and of course, as we theorized, Bond is weak now. There's no Bond. Something has to fill that gap.
It's
and
like Kong
Johnny
and
English.
Godzilla.
Exactly.
yin
Johnny
and
English is
yang.
resting at the bottom of the ocean after this for a couple of like centuries.
Yeah, I really thought the English -1 was like kind of.
It was overhyped.
It was revision. It was like revisionist, you know, and like pretty right wing as well, much like this movie.
Shin Johnny English, however, now that was a pretty fucking good one.
And they did the American Johnny English with Matthew Broderick.
Oh my god.
See the end of English -1. You see the Englishness spreading up her veins. I hate when this happens to me. So, what did we make of this movie? And I guess all three movies, because we can kind of wrap it up into with a bow here. Like, what did we make of the experience of watching all 3 excellent Johnny English films.
I didn't have a good time.
No.
No, it wasn't
No,
very
me
fun.
either.
The last
No.
like 3 days I've woken up and watched a Johnny English movie first thing in the morning, and like that has not made me mentally healthy.
It's a
quite
difficult
deleterious, I
morning
feel.
watch, you know?
I think it's made me quite upset because the actual Bond films, they only say things about England like obliquely, right? Like, yes, he's British, and yes, we get some luxury British brands that your dad can buy. But for the most part, they stay away from trying to actually say something about the values of the nation explicitly.
Yeah. Well, in the first
This
one,
tries to, and like the shit they come up with is just depressing.
yeah. Like in the first one, he's like willing to be like, "This is the country I love," but like that kind of line just doesn't come back in either of the next two. Like,
Yeah, and like to see the Conservative Prime Minister talking about fundamental British values, and like all I see in my head is fucking protesters getting their head kicked in. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I just feel excluded from nationalism now at
flames.
this stage. Like,
flames.
I'm sorry, that's not a very funny thing to say on the comedy podcast.
I mean,
Don't worry. I got some.
we know what it says about Englishness then. What does it say about masculinity? It's cool.
It mostly says shit about boomer masculinity, right? It primarily goes like, everything is soy and gay now, and you're right for thinking that.
It's
And therefore, you should attack cyclists with your car.
Yeah.
It is.
No
it's like
repercussions for that at all.
wish fulfillment, right? Like I do all this cool boomer shit that no one knows how to do anymore. I'm the only one who can still do it, and they still need me. People still need me. I'm still relevant, you know.
Young people will respect me. I smash a phone with a sword.
This is a rough, sort of really like lack of introspection movie to make in the twilight of your career, you know?
Yeah.
Like, having made all the Mr. Bean shit that everybody in the world loves and is going to give you infinite money for, to be like, I've still got it. This is a movie about how I, Rowan Atkinson, have still fucking got it, is pathetic.
It's really insecure.
Yeah. It's the Chaplin disease thing again, right? Like Woody Allen, you know? It's like, it's therapeutic. And it fucking sucks. Don't watch these.
It's sad to watch. I'm like, man, you could have just lived off fucking royalties from reruns of Blackadder for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Like, you can be remembered fondly, you know, if you try and keep up with anything current, instead of being like, actually, I'm just going to insult the way things are now, because they inconvenience me as sort of like multi-millionaire personally.
These films seem bitter, increasingly so as the trilogy goes on.
Getting worse. Like, you can really track the health of the English and the health of the Johnny English are one. Like, it's the English have 60 million and one bodies, and it really, like, you can track the kind of descent into madness, you know? Like, what's the onset time of variant Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease again? Like,
At least 3 movies.
But we don't have to speculate.
That's right.
About these things, because we have a 3D printed because we have a science-based system. You know, as a trans woman, I can come out onto any stage in this country and get that reaction. It's so much better from you guys.
I just said the phrase "funny" every time, by the way. I just heard you say that.
So,
I know we do it a lot.
It's called the SCUM system. It stands for SMARM, Cultural Insensitivity, Unprovoked Violence, and Misogyny. How smarmy, we're going to break the fucking wheel. How smarmy is Johnny English Strikes Again?
I think it's worse than the previous two.
So much.
Just earnestly.
It's the most smarmy, hands down. Hands fucking down. I know we gave the first one 7, which means we got to get into the fucking
We
putative
gave the second
zone.
one 7 too. I mean,
I think this might be the smarmiest film
It's
I've ever
absolutely
watched.
the smarmiest.
Yeah, it's very bad.
It's like
9?
I'll do 9. Yeah, no hesitation. Just let it bark. 9.
Cultural insensitivity.
I mean...
Well, they've once again gone back to forgetting that people of colour exist.
Yeah.
They're allowed to work in Downing Street. Not at the top.
That's true.
But they're there.
The has 2 lines never named kind of Moneypenny character is a black woman.
Yeah.
She gets to say Bristol Temple Meads in a funny voice.
Mm-hmm.
Which, to be fair, she sells the fuck out of. But,
Yeah.
like...
If you've got 2 lines in the movie, you fucking hit those lines, all right?
Yeah, no question.
Damn right.
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't know.
Shit.
It's back to a mission, and to like go back really marries up with the Smart, and I think that makes it more racist. Also, Scotland does have sunlight now because of climate change.
Yeah, it's like making fun of the Scots is something that like early Bonds did. It's like Scotland as Mordor.
Yeah, but the same thing is like, the French or the Swiss, you know? It's just it's like sort of very visibly going down a list of like, what can I do that won't be racist but will like appeal to boomers, you know?
4?
I'll do 4. I'll comfortably
What
do
kind
4.
of whites are we allowed to hate? Let's go on down the list.
Looking at the R Scots white dial and be like, it hasn't
it says
moved in a
yes.
few hundred
It says
years, but I reckon we could probably,
Hamza Yousaf single-handedly responsible for shoving that down. Unprovoked violence.
I feel like this one's going to be quite high. He does attack some cyclists.
Civilians, mind you.
Yeah.
Like,
I want to fucking punish him for the cyclist because the movie doesn't, and it's stupid and bad.
he gets lightly disciplined for it, you know? Like, he gets yelled at one time.
It's part
by
of
Emma
a
Watson.
series of like.
My life could be so much better.
Part of a series of things she's upset about, and one of those is like annoying me, and then like down the list is you shot a missile at a bunch of French cyclists.
Yeah.
It's like you can be inside the room when there's a chief constable getting yelled at, you know? It's higher than... He doesn't kill anybody. Like,
I don't think he does.
No.
Does he?
unless you can... Is an iPad in the back of the neck fatal?
He what? He does burn a restaurant down. That is by accident.
Nah, yeah, he does that by accident.
Whomst among us has not accidentally burned a restaurant? Come on.
Yeah, the
Flambeing
Fortnum and
shit
Mason's
is
food court
hard.
never was the same.
I'm not allowed back. To order those almonds online. 4? 5?
I'll do 4, I think.
I want to give him a 5. He attacked... There were a lot of cyclists.
5.
You know what?
Yeah,
5 it, fuck him.
Peloton of French cyclists.
This is scientific.
Yeah.
Misogyny.
I mean,
Ladies.
Olga Kurylenko gets to be good at being a spy, but in the kind of like, and she's hot and she kicks ass kind of way.
She doesn't fall in love with Johnny English. They don't
True.
have like a
He
kiss.
doesn't get the girl.
Thank
no, he
God,
doesn't.
yeah.
He gets the more important
Well,
thing
he's
for an old man,
monogamous.
which is respect from the youth.
From children. Yeah.
Yeah, the real romance arc is him in a class full of children. Well, they did call him Johnny English. Like,
Which one's the fucking ravaging drop?
the what?
The fucking you're looking particularly.
Oh,
ravaging
it's
tonight.
oh fuck, beautiful tonight.
You're looking particularly beautiful tonight.
You're looking particularly beautiful tonight.
They're all raising little martini glasses at him. It is.
For real though. For
Also, sorry,
real,
1 second.
though.
Yeah, just
Ah, the heckler.
This is becoming very like Geralt to me. So, heckler.
I guess, it does show us that women can command nuclear submarines and nations.
True.
I know it doesn't do what they did to M in the second one, where it's just like she's a woman, she
True.
has children.
True.
It seems like we've accepted that women can be in charge of things now, and they're not a principal cause of things being soy woke and gay.
It's true. In that case, I don't know. Like
It's improved slightly.
like a 2 or 3.
3?
Sure.
You do
3.
3.
I'm gonna give 3.
I listen to
In that
women.
case, that gives us a total score of 21, which puts it pretty much in the middle of the other two. First night was 20, this is 24, and right now on 21. So
That
Fine.
tracks. That
That's
tracks.
fine.
Second
We've got
one's the worst
0
one.
racist noise drops for this one, and we had
Yeah,
fucking
literally.
that's a
like,
good point.
We had 2
Yeah,
for the second
yeah.
and 3 for the first. So like,
Yeah. I lunged in for the racist noises, and now I realized I don't want to do that.
yeah. You know the noises.
Oh, you really do have like some
Yeah, do you
English
want to hit one?
racism.
Be my guest.
I'm good, actually. I think I'm fine.
Any of these, like this one right here is particularly like rancid.
That's very rancid. I'm not going to click that one. I might just do this instead.
Careful, Whitey!
How does this compare to Bond?
Let me have a
To
look
James
for you.
Bond?
20
Will Johnny
20
English do what James Bond did?
It's
Oh, I really hate myself for Johnny English.
it's like a bad.
Everyone's an Englishman and you're an Englishman too.
It's the same as No Time to Die, which I think kind of tracks.
It is the kind of the
Yeah.
same film as No Time to Die as
Yeah.
well. Like,
License to Kill. It's like a bad Brosnan. It's like Die Another Day level Brosnan.
Yeah, that figures. That tracks.
Yeah.
So yeah, really just confirming our theory that this is just more Bond. It's like the Bond comedy annex. You know, it's like the Bond. It's like James Bond show at the Fringe. You know.
Yeah.
James Bond's many times cancelled one-man show at the Fringe called like "Sorry to Offend You" or whatever. But so. We also do have some awards to give out, possibly.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that. I'm trying to figure out if there was
we give out a
goon.
Kronstein Rosette for henchman who goes above and beyond, and we give a Goodnight Cross for
There aren't even that many henchmen
also,
in this.
just for
There's
the-
no notable goons of any. There's hardly any gooning of any kind.
It's a damn well goonless movie. None of the goons have any kind of source whatsoever. Like they've
True.
not got any named like misters,
Yeah.
right? Like it's just sort of
needed a henchman, you know. Really needed a Mr. Something, Mr. Surname.
And none of the allies go above and beyond either, because every single person is phoning it in this movie.
Yeah, just never existed. You know, the Mr. Surname is up in heaven, being like, "I wish you hadn't written me out of the script." You know. So in that case,
No awards, nothing.
No awards, nothing. The honor system is corrupt anyway.
The thousands of like aborted Mr. Surnames in heaven are looking down. I could have been in your movie.
I'm sorry, I couldn't say duh. Okay, boss.
Aborted henchman. Aborted henchman GF.
I'll never tell you. Oh, okay.
I'll never get thrown
never
into
check
like
the
a
perimeter.
meatpacking machine.
I could be checking your perimeter right now, Annan. You know.
This is a real like 94th minute joke.
We're done. Is there anything else? Any other business?
No. Well, there is some other business, right? Which is that the bar is open for
Oh, yeah.
another half hour.
That's good business.
We will be outside. We will have merch to sell. You can buy this poster. Again, risky point. You can buy this poster. You can buy little pins of the Kronstein Rosette and the Goodnight Cross. We will be selling them. We will be autographing stuff. We will like hang out. We will sign pretty much whatever. We signed someone's medication the other day, someone's disability card. I
Does
signed
anyone else here say "we will suck"? Just then.
Okay.
I made eye contact with a couple of people in the audience that had like a raised eyebrow.
Trying to do a whole thing with it, and it takes a while to bed in, you know. Like,
I'm sorry.
It's like if you started like signing your name as like Cornwall, like cold, like started tonight.
Yeah,
it would
yeah.
take it a while, right?
It would take a minute or two.
Yeah.
I forget that Devon is a place sometimes. I'm just like, that's my friend. Sometimes they mention Devon on the news. I'm like, oh no! Oh, okay, it's fine.
Devon is a place on earth.
Yeah.
Who knew?
But yeah, so we will be hanging out. You can circulate. You can come say hi. You know, and probably since this is the third night, some of us may be around at the nearest pub. I don't know, it's around the corner. So yeah, just come and hang out. And thank you so much for coming out. Thank you so much for watching on the live stream. It's like, it makes it incredible to do this. You guys are like the best audience and the best fans, and I appreciate it so much. And like I said this last night, but like in times that suck as much as these do, it's a real tonic, you know. And like I hope we can kind of give you back the kind of good feeling you give us, you know.
Yeah.
Let's be sincere. Let's be sincere for a minute.
Yeah.
Do you have anything?
I mean, I just to steal it from you again, just for a little bit. It's like I got asked to give a corporate talk, right, about what it's like to be trans in Britain in 2024. And there's
She brought a bag lunch to the talk. That's clever.
This is my first time. I didn't think I was like palatable to like corporate clients, but one of them asked me, and that as a comedian, there's an obvious joke that you write in your head, right? Which is 2 slides. First slide: what's it like to be trans in the United Kingdom in 2024? Next slide: 700-point font shit, right?
3D printing a gun right now.
But it's not true, right? Like the actual thing I would say there is, what's it like to be trans in the United Kingdom in 2024? It fucking rules, right? Like it does. And despite every attempt to make it suck, every single one of them, no weapon formed against us can prosper, right? Because the baseline experience of being trans is so good that it just kind of, it water off a duck's back, you know? And all of this shit is gonna like pass away in time and we're still gonna fucking be here.
That's fucking right.
That line gets less applause in like a corporate office.
Weirdly, it got a lot when you did it at MI6.
Well, those are some real fans, you know, and thank you to you guys, you know, like you really like do the most.
Watching the live
extra
stream now
legally
and
the most.
always.
Yeah.
No, it is very heartening, especially like the number of people who've came up to us the last couple of nights as we're signing stuff and gone like, I came out because of your podcast. And I'm just like, oh, hell yeah. Like, we are recruiting.
We're building.
I can't guarantee I will be there when all of you get your pussy.
But in spirit.
Yeah, it's spirit, yeah.
People expect a political statement out of me because I made one on the first night of a Charlie's Angels live streams. But like, fortunately, there's not a lot that's going on right now that really requires comment. I wouldn't think. So I like to give my time up for an impassioned plea to get involved in direct action and organizing. Okay?
You know what? You know what you should do? 3D print a ballot box. And then vote.
Get involved in non-electoral politics.
3D print a big placard with a protest sign.
We deserve better than
we
this.
do.
We deserve better than every 4 years getting to pick who has the vaguely best ideas, okay? We want people who are willing to say something like, transgender people have always been part of society, that there is no Great Britain without trans people. There never has been, there never fucking will be. We will always be that. And if I can go further even than that, we need people who are willing to say out loud that not only is immigration a natural good, a natural consequence of human civilization, a completely ordinary and standard thing. Not only is it just that, but it is an active good that makes this country better. It makes it a more enjoyable place to live.
Damn right.
And there is nobody working in electoral politics right now that is interested in advancing that statement. Nobody at fucking all. Not the leader of the opposition, not any of the other motherfuckers. None of the Greens are even happy to go and say, no, immigration, not only is it normal, it's good, it's actively good, it's something that should be encouraged, and people are willing to say this. Normal people are willing to say this. People, I'm not willing to call myself normal, but normal people are willing to say this. And where are they? They're in unions right now. They're in tenants unions like Acorn. They're in workplace unions, you know, like IRMT or whatever, like. Get involved. We need you. We need your time, not just your money. Don't donate money. We've got enough. It's fine. What we need is genuine human effort from every one of you. A better future is possible. It's right there. Join me. And while I'm here, Palestine, hurrah! That's all I had.
Nice. I think it was moderate. I think it was centrist.
Responsible,
I think
yeah.
Beautiful.
And
Okay, I tried to hit a balance.
I remember some like old man a while back saying something along the lines of like, "We are many, they are few."
Yeah, rise like lions, I believe, was the phrase.
An unconquerable number, which is a weird note to end a podcast about Johnny English Strikes Again.
I guess all I've got to say then is, to thine own self be true.
That being the case, it only remains for me to say, we have been Kill James Bond.
Goodbye, English!
Goodbye, Internet.
Thank you.
No. Sorry.
Yeah, go off.
Fuck it.
Yeah, go on. What's up?
If you have, it can be very difficult for trans people in this country to get hormones.
True.
If you have some, perhaps you know someone who needs them. I'm very wary of breaking the law.
Oh, you've done it like twice already.
Okay, great. Because we're gonna have to do it our fucking selves.
No one.
Maybe you're
It's true,
aware of a
yeah.
pregnant mare somewhere.
No
that you
one.
can-
No one can stop you from 3D printing a bathtub. And what you do with that bathtub you've 3D printed, no one can tell you about that either. Thank you so much for coming out, for your support today, last night, the night before, and always. We hope to continue to receive it in future. It's a pleasure, it's a delight, it's an honor. We have been Kill James Bond. Good night.